Nigel field cuts through my neighborhood.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fearlessly Authentic.
What up, fam?
And there's Steeper in the background. And I have the wonderful lady, Alex. And there's Steeper in the background. And I have the wonderful lady.
Oh, you got yourself going at the same time.
I fixed it.
That was Lady Alex.
There it is.
And we have the lovely Shelly joining us. How are you?
Hey.
Can I call you Pretty Poison instead?
Sure, you can call me anything you want.
Pretty poison. Oh my gosh. I have to tell you guys before we get going, I had the craziest thing happen today. My friend came over to make his vest for the wedding that I'm going to be in. So he was making his vest. And so him and the wife came by to sew and do that because he doesn't have a sewing machine. And I go to walk him out this evening, and two huge military airplanes go flying above us. I thought they were going to hit the treetops. That's how low they were. I was like, holy shit. I'm like cursing and shit out there. And there's like little kids outside playing.
Watch your mouth.
I'm like, oh my gosh. I really felt like these planes were going to hit. Like they were well below, and they're huge.
I'm just talking about the plane.
Huge.
Were they like
planes.
transport planes? Like cargo planes?
Yeah, that's what they are. They're cargo planes, but they're like super low, super low flying. Like,
Wow, they should not be flying that low.
Yeah, like I thought they were going to hit the trees.
Oh my God.
It's pretty nutty to see.
Like we're in a 2-story apartment, okay? Like it's not that tall of a building.
Yeah,
The
no,
trees aren't very much higher than that.
Yeah.
And they're literally like looking like they're gonna clip the trees.
They're probably 200 feet in the air, but they're just, you know what I mean? They're pretty fucking low by standard plane flying standards. I don't know anything about plane flying standards.
I was freaked out for a minute. I mean, because they go over all the time, but usually we don't get two right in a row. I was like, what is happening? What is happening?
Whoa. All right. Hey.
Well, I know in around where I live, there's like one of those places where they do military exercises. Like it's like basically a town, but it's for practice. And they do like all like the
War games.
Yeah, basically it's, you know, for like quote unquote urban warfare in a small rural town. Like no. But they do like practice drill. They do like the casualty drills and stuff there too. But every spring and summer, they were like, oh my God, I just saw a black helicopter in the sky. I'm like, dude, it's the season for drills.
They've been going over and over like for the last couple of years, a lot more than I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, southeastern Connecticut, we're not far from, you know, military bases and stuff like that. Like that's not an unusual thing.
Yeah, but the military bases,
them flying over us like that and that frequency and that low,
yeah, that's
not normal.
The bases close to here are submarine bases.
Yeah, we have sub bases. It's not an air, we don't have aircraft like. Yeah, no, we have submarine base in Groton, and we have a Coast Guard Academy that's not far from us. But yeah, really crazy. Freaked me out today.
No, that was freaking out too. When Trump was like ramping up the rhetoric against North Korea and everybody thought we were going to go to war, started seeing fighter jets flying over Oneonta, and the last time I had seen that was like right after 9/11. So it was like, that's not good. And then like I didn't see him again. But yeah, for like a couple of weeks it was like that, and then it died down. But yeah, anytime you start seeing an increase in military activity like that, it's definitely a big, huge red flag. You know something's up.
Yeah, they're scrambling.
Just in case, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if we get blown up or something.
It's just that, if we're not online one day, you'll know why. Just,
like the
plane
military
did hit the building.
They got us.
It's fine. Surveillance state is just catching up.
So
I wanted to show everybody this. This is over 30 years old. I managed to save this through
that
many
is amazing. It's
trials
a
and
relic.
tribulations.
Oh shit.
This is this is now an abortion instrument. FDA approved.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Maybe
I can't believe that made that long.
it may or may not be covered under your underwriter, but
This is
just,
an alleged abortion device. Okay, that's it. I just, show and tell.
also great for keeping the wrinkles out.
Well, nobody has wire hangers anymore.
I
That's the
said
only
no
one I-
wire hangers. Thank
Exactly. Mommy Dearest ruined it for wire
Hey, I can
hangers.
sell it on eBay.
Damn you, Joe Cross.
That thing needs to be in a display box,
Oh, there's a whole bit right there just waiting to happen. That just like, oh my God. Coat hangers, no wire hangers.
Mommy Dearest.
Mommy Dearest.
Oh my
A bit ironic.
Clarence Thomas dressed as Mommy Dearest. You know what I mean?
Oh my
like,
God.
Oh man.
oh boy, my mind is just spun.
The memes are gonna
This
come out of
weed
this.
is good. Did you guys see the new Suzanne meme that came out earlier today?
Steve made a
Oh, I saw that.
he made a creepy meme. It's creepy.
Well, all right. Granted, it is creepy and it's weird, but
Still funny.
at the same time, isn't it creepy and weird that
You have to
Beyonce
explain-
comes out with that fucking
You have
picture
to
in the first
explain
place?
Yeah.
context.
All
Steve.
I did was Susan Sarandon her face a little bit.
Okay.
I mean,
Steve, context.
you can show them the fucking context. You don't have to like rely on me. There's a picture that Beyonce released earlier today on Twitter, and it was her atop like a chrome skinned stallion.
It looks like a crystal horse or something.
Yeah,
It's weird.
It's some kind of metallic horse creature.
Yeah.
And she's astride and looking all glorious and beautiful, and Beyonce with long flowing hair. And so I put Susan Sarandon's face on it and called it Suzanne.
Oh, I found it. Okay. We'll show you the weird thing. The
Allegedly.
weird thing that Steve allegedly, made.
Because I could never really. I can't take credit for the brilliance of the original picture, but the little reface, I figured, what could have hurt?
Holy Jesus. Is that Beyonce's body?
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
she's fucking jacked.
Yeah, because it's photoshopped to hell.
You know what it looks
It's not
like?
look
Yeah.
that.
They put her on a little tchotchka. You know those little
Yeah.
things you put on your shelf? It's like a little horse tchotchka.
It looks like one of my
Yes.
funeral horses from when I was a kid.
My
Yeah, it's
God.
one of those crystalline equines
I
that you
think
get
it's a CRISPR
from
horse.
Louisville,
Come on.
Kentucky.
Or
I think it's
ice.
a CRISPR horse.
Or
It's a
ice
CRISPR
and
horse,
crotch is
obviously.
melted. Her crotch is so hot that whole horse is going to melt.
Well, luckily, it's not made out of ice; it's titanium. To stand the heat,
Freezer.
Well, she can swim.
the heat of the Sarandon kitchen. I
So
don't
yeah,
know.
he put Sarandon's face on it.
So yeah, look closely. I was gonna put Pelosi, but then I figured Susan
Ew.
Sarandon was better,
Yeah.
more believable. Just
Thank you.
you're welcome.
he looks at me. I'm like in the living room with my friends, and he's in here in the kitchen, doing this, and he looks at me. He's like, "I did a thing," and he tells me, "What did you call it?"
Suzanne.
A Suzanne. I'm like, "A what?" This is what happens when Steve gets left alone. He makes a Suzanne.
He needs supervision.
At least I'm not looking at porn. I mean, well, arguable, I guess. But
Depends on your definition of porn. If you're like a conservative Christian, that's porn.
Yeah.
That's really kink specific with the chromium horse and everything. I don't know.
Is
Yeah,
that
very
a genre?
specific.
Is that a genre now? Crystalline horse?
I'm sure it is by now.
Oh my gosh.
It's a new kink. Everybody
It's a
has a new
well-loved
kink now.
category up
If you
north.
can think of it, if a human being can think of it, it
Yes.
exists.
It's been categorized and it's on
It's-
Pornhub
it's
for you to
there.
watch.
Yep.
It's there.
You know, speaking of Pornhub, I honestly think like all this like anal stuff and the step fucking stuff is all
You're
engineered.
echoing Poison.
Yeah, step fucking shit. I see all that.
Yeah.
There's so much incestual everything everywhere. Like, what the fuck made that fucking cool?
And they push it.
When did that start being?
Steve, I look for midgets with do-rags myself, so I haven't seen them.
Well, that's just hot, you know.
Oh my god! My friend today told me I've never met a little person just randomly, like just random, like he was just like I've never met a little person.
I wish
I'm
somebody
like,
would say that to me. I'd be like, "Well, just hold on 1 second. I got one in my back pocket. Let me show you."
That person didn't grow up in a big city then, probably, because you're bound
no.
to, you know.
Nope. More like the country and stuff. Yeah.
country bunkins. So I hope everybody enjoyed the.
Yes, I'm gonna take your Sarandon crystal horse down. Let's give a shout out to everybody that's in our chat tonight. Let's see. We got
Shout out
Cirrus and
Beyonce
Popeye
lovers.
and General Meow Meow, who's here for the free Chuck E. Cheese tokens. I'm not sure who promised you those. I'm sorry. We might have run out. Let's see. And of course, Lady Alex is here.
Lady Alex M.
M for what, Steve? What is it?
Motherfucker.
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 That's right. You have to. You have to go up at least an octave when you say it. You know what I mean? From the standard pitch for it to be correctly pronounced.
And you brought some new people with you.
Well,
And this
one I stole from AM Wake Up.
Well, welcome.
Jeffrey.
Welcome.
Jeffrey Bogus, nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for hanging out. I hope everybody's having a good day. You little squirrel loving so and so. Elle Latham, I love that lady.
Elle.
I was listening to her podcast earlier. You guys all should listen to her podcast, by the way.
Yeah. Yes. For sure. I know. I haven't listened to it. I know it dropped today.
I was already listening. You didn't hear it.
I was working on it. I was helping make his vest today for the wedding. So
Sure.
I think I have an excuse. I didn't do much, if anything, online today.
We'll see if we can get you a note. We'll
I'll get me a note.
get you a note for your absence, and make sure Miss Latham
How do I say this screen name?
is to what? How do you say?
I'm not good at
Creatrix Inc.
Creatrix Inc.
Yes,
Creatrix
Creatrix
Inc.
Inc.
Okay.
It's like 3 parts.
If we
Creatrix.
say it wrong, we're
saying it wrong. They're saying it. Creatrix. Okay.
Creatrix.
Perfect. We'll mispronounce it often. So thanks for coming, and thanks for
And if you're wondering, like, why do I already have a wrench? I'm new to this channel because Lucky believes in freedom of speech, and I believe that
it's
we're
just a
adults.
crazy thing we're trying. Let everybody have a fucking voice.
We give people the we give people the
I've got my doubts, but that's how it's gonna go from now on forever. And we got some heavy topic shit going on. The bird is getting all riled up about it. Peach has settled down. Christ.
Angela and Dingo
and Kim, and Trish T. I love that girl. She's a sweetheart.
and Jeffrey. So you because you now. You're virgins. I pop cherries over here.
You're
And
good
I
at that.
wrench. I give you a wrench. I give you freedom. You know, I'll even invite you on the show if you want to. And don't worry, I'll be cooking my bird later.
Peaches is like,
Comic relief.
is like
Comic
don't.
relief. We need peaches in this world that we're living in. We need peaches
more peaches.
desperately.
Oh, thank you, Dingo. Dingo likes the hair tonight. The hair is an absolute mess, and the green screen hates my hair. It like it will put like, see, it disappears it. Or it like makes it like green between my hair. It's funny.
Like the webbing between her toes.
I don't have web toe.
Don't
Peaches.
blab, Steve.
Sorry.
Trash.
I don't know how, but Riley Martian is the one who discovered it, and I just went along with the whole thing. I find it's better not, don't ask too many questions about the web feet.
I don't have web feet.
Well, I don't want to embarrass you, so I just leave it alone. I don't want to make it public knowledge or anything. Peaches, that's enough
even
about her
remember how
web
that
feet.
started.
Stop that. God,
So
this bird.
now I feel like we warmed up ourselves a little bit. So there is so much going on with the Roe v. Wade that I felt like it was really important for us to have a real conversation about it. And I found a bunch of really cool like signs and memes and things like that too to show you guys. But I found this article. I found it this morning, and randomly, came across it. And I feel like it's something that gives a completely different perspective to this. So here, I'm going to pull it up. So, is it? There we go. So this guy right here says, I was adopted months after Roe v. Wade. I wish adoption had been an option for my birth mom. Well, it's a cruel question to ask. Would you rather have been aborted? The answer for me is, what do you guys think?
He must be depressed and have a hard life to be feeling that way about himself.
You're right.
So
Where's the actual article? Oh, there. I have to click on that. Okay. So, Steve just goes, Guinness. So, I'm going to read this article real quick, and then we can get right into the whole Roe v. Wade and go wherever we want with it. So, this story starts out, this article really. Let's see. It's in Newsweek. It's from 6/29 of 2022. So, when I logged onto social media this morning on June 24th, my heart sank. As I feared, I was met with a sea of comments claiming pro-life activists should be the first in line to adopt the inevitable generation of children produced by forced birth after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. I was flooded with memories of my own childhood, a toddler wandering around conventions run by the National Right to Life Committee, founded by the National Conference of Catholic Bishops. I was barely old enough to walk, but old enough to see images of aborted fetuses while being told by strangers I should be grateful to be alive. I was born in Casper, Wyoming on April 5th, 1973, 3 months after the landmark decision, which meant women in the United States could choose whether to have abortions without excessive government regulation. Shortly after birth, I was put up for adoption and through an organization called Catholic Charities. A few weeks later, I had a new home. While I didn't know why my adoptive parents chose to adopt me, I always suspected their choice may have been to enact a social protest. So this is him. And it says under here that his father of 3 was born 3 months after Roe v. Wade. So, and then he says, I spent the first few years of my life in the Wind River Reservation in central Wyoming, where my adoptive parents worked as missionaries. My adoptive mom works as a teacher, and my adoptive dad works as a teacher administrator before becoming ordained as a deacon in a Catholic church. My early years were spent surrounded by Catholicism. Catholicism. Oh my God, I can't. I said it right the first time. Okay. Being around priests and nuns was a regular part of my life, but for practical purposes. I had what a lot of people would describe as a, in parentheses, normal child. When I was in the 5th grade, we moved to the East Coast, and my adoptive parents were employed by the Archdiocese of Baltimore, helping write curriculum and train teachers of their associated schools. Growing up, it was no secret that I'd been adopted. I was constantly around pro-life Catholics who said things like, "Aren't you glad you weren't aborted? You were spared from abortion. Your parents are so wonderful for adopting you." Naturally, I thought, wow, yeah, I'm lucky to be alive, but it was confusing. Why didn't my mom want to keep me? Why was I given up? I don't understand. I just knew that for some reason I was given away. My adoptive mother's narrative was that my mom loved me so much that she gave me up. I accepted that as the truth. My birth certificate has the name of my adoptive parents on it. So I knew nothing about my biological parents until I was a teenager. When I opened a box of paperwork, which included non-identifying information about them, the paperwork said I'd been born to a 16-year-old girl. As my teenage years progressed, my thoughts of my parents, I put thoughts of my parents at the back of my mind and spent time getting drunk with friends. The first time I tried alcohol, I was 15. One of my friends had stolen liquor from her parents' cabinet, and we spent the night driving around drinking. Since then, I can say I've never drank alcohol without the intention of getting drunk. I wanted to be drunk all the time. I would drink after class, skip school with my friends, go to parties. I never set out to have a few beers and hang out with my friends. I knew I was going to get wasted every time. I think I drank to cope with the trauma of being taken away from my mother, never knowing what normal, in parentheses, was like. As I approached my 20s, I went to several colleges, but had to drop out. Throughout the early 90s, I was either homeless or couch surfing. I didn't have a place to stay or any money. For a spell, I worked in restaurants and later became a bartender, which is a fantastic job for an alcoholic. For a long time, I was lost. I didn't know who I was or what purpose was. I didn't relate to other people, specifically people who had been, in parentheses, kept. I felt alone. I believe now I was suicidal, and my chosen method of suicide was drinking myself to death. When I was drunk, I wasn't thinking about any of this. I was numb to it all. One evening in my 20s, sitting at the bar drinking pints of Guinness. We laugh because that's Shelly's dog. Just so everyone knows why.
Yeah. It's not a funny story at all.
Yeah. With female friends after work, the topic of abortion came up. It was a subject I tried to avoid because of my close proximity to the issue. Plus, I knew being pro-life wasn't popular in my peer group. At first, it was a debate. Then it was a conversation. I had never considered that abortion was a health issue. To me, it had been framed by my parents and Catholicism as the one reason someone would get an abortion is because they wanted to kill babies. I kept talking to people and gradually changed my mind. Now I'm firmly pro-choice. It was while bartending I met my wife. She fell pregnant and gave me the choice of quitting drinking or having no contact with our future child. After a decade of attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, I gave up for good. I've been sober for 10 years. It was also for my 3 children that I decided to upload my details into a genealogy website 4 years ago. I thought I owed it to them to know where they came from. To my surprise, I got a hit with an adult sibling. In a couple of hours, I was able to piece together everything from social media. When my birth mother had me, she really had 4 children, but it was a bit of a mind. I think that would be say fuck. My mom had 4 kids. Why did she give me up?
Wait,
After-
wait. Hold on.
She was 16 when she had.
Yeah. She was 16 when she had
That's
him,
what
but
he was
already had 4
told.
children.
That's
Oh,
what he was told.
Oh, all
Well,
right.
it's possible. It really is possible, but
Yeah,
I don't know, man. That's just
I know.
wow.
I thought that too when I was reading it, but I think from what I filled in, I think that she wasn't 16. I think that's what he was just told. Okay. So
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
So after meeting my sister, I learned the information. I had the same reaction. That's funny. After meeting my sister, I learned the information I had about my parents for all those years wasn't true. In reality, my biological mother was separating from my alcoholic father and didn't want a 5th child with him. I would have been conceived sometime before Roe v Wade, so legal abortion was not available for my mother. In a lot of ways, I was born in the wrong place at the wrong time. My birth parents ended up getting separated, so she was isolated alone with no support for the children. I have no ill feelings towards my mom. She was put in a very difficult position. I don't know what her true feelings were, never having the opportunity to speak with her, but I believe there may have been an element of coercion involving relatives in the religious charities she was involved with. It's possible she went to them for family assistance and was coerced into relinquishing me instead of receiving financial assistance and support. My mother died a few weeks after I identified her. I knew she was in the hospital from social media posts and made the decision I wouldn't try to contact her while she was dealing with a health issue. I regret it somewhat, but at the time I thought it would have been a little selfish on my part. I did, however, have a couple of conversations with my dad. We talked on the phone, and I thought it was a fairly good conversation. After we hung up, he texted me and said he didn't want anything to do with me again. Aside from the obvious infringement on women's rights and health issues, I'm concerned about overturning Roe v. Wade because, as an adopted person, I've seen how this has played out in my own life. Politicians are saying we have to make adoption easier, more accessible, and cheaper. I personally believe adoption should be abolished. Yes, there are situations where maybe adoption is the only choice, but I promote legal guardianship, where you can care for a child, do everything a parent would normally do without changing or selling their birth certificates, so they are cut off from their genealogy and medical records. It's very troubling to me that my entire existence is because my mother didn't have access to abortion. Well, it's a cruel question to ask. Would you rather have been aborted? The answer for me is yes. First of all, because if I'd been aborted, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't exist. But also, it's very hard to reconcile your own existence when it comes at the cost of someone else's human rights. Children like me grew up in an environment where we're told we're spared from abortion. We were propagandized into thinking abortion is wrong. I believe that it's a form of violence. I don't pretend to know the answer, what the answer is for this generation of children who are going to be the product of forced birth. But in my opinion, abortion isn't it. So that's John Gregg, 49, from Safety Harbor, Florida, a father of 3 and family preservation and harm reduction campaigner. And here's his Twitter if you want to follow him. I was so touched by that article. I was like, wow, I didn't realize it wasn't on the screen the whole time. I'm sorry. I had it on a different screen.
You did a very good job reading.
Sorry. But yeah, this is where the article is. I'll put the link for that in the chat for everybody too, in case you guys want to read it additionally or see it or share it, whatever it is. But I was like, wow, that's a perspective that, I didn't really think of, when I started thinking about this issue, I didn't really think of, did it not cover oh my gosh, I don't think it copied the whole thing. Of course.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people, you could use somebody like him with, like, there are people that were in the skinheads or people that were military people and come back and have it and are changed by their experiences or information that they get. So, yes, this is about this particular issue, but people rarely, though, but they do change their opinions about things when something personal happens to them and they get some insight.
This is his personal story, like, it's not for me to say it's right or wrong, but it's a perspective.
Yeah. And it's rare. And, you don't hear of these stories often. But yeah, he realized what getting that information helped him connect to why he was feeling so horrible and depressed all his life. And then he understood more about what happened to his birth mother, and he had empathy and compassion for her, and that changed his perspective on abortion and adoption. And so, yeah, I can understand where he's coming from. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt it was really touching to me. It was like, wow, I didn't even think about it from the perspective of growing up and knowing, like, I was put up for adoption instead of abort. It didn't directly, like, come into my thought process. So I was like, wow, the perspective of this is something that I didn't think of,
Well, I've known a couple of people that have had similar situations who have felt the same way. Like, I can understand it, but at the same time, it's like there are people who were born in Rwanda that have the same exact feelings. So it's so complicated. And I understand where he's coming from personally. It's his own personal feeling, his own personal story. But
he's just, the amount of pressure that he's put under, like, oh, well, aren't you grateful that you're alive? Aren't you grateful? You know what I mean? And like the whole religious aspect of it.
Yeah, I get that.
Like too. That's a different, that's a different way to look at it. And just the trauma that goes along with that.
Yeah.
It's definitely a very nuanced thing for every person. For so many reasons, it's so complicated.
And another part of the story is the whole system. Like, first of all, he got adopted out by Catholic charities. Mm-hmm. And then there was the issue of, like, possibly his mother being coerced by the Catholic Church, which happens a lot. Yep. It's like a historical fact that's been going on for the longest time. The Catholic Church even, like, killed babies. If you go into, like, the Irish Catholic orphanages, they took in the babies and they just freaking killed them. And they were doing that up until just a handful of decades ago. So it's like, it's one of those things, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But the system of adoption definitely needs a huge overhaul. It needs to be, well, first of all, it needs to be more accessible to people that are of a lower income.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be run by religious institutions.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be run by the state. So it's like, it's just
It kind of goes back to the thing that I'm always saying about institutions that are built to, process children are all corrupted, and usually by the state or by the church or both. And they're the places that like abuses take place and stuff. There's no fucking mystery as to why there are so many like forced adoptions and all of these sex cases and sex crimes throughout history with the church. You know what I mean? It's like it's a thing.
yeah.
They know it's a thing. It's always been a thing, and everybody acts like it's not a fucking thing. And I'm saying it is, and it's steeped in education, and it's steeped in all kinds of fucking things that indoctrinate people into believing that it's all right. Bobby got molested when he was 11, but he's a well-adjusted guy now, and like
Yeah,
then
bullshit.
Bobby fucking commits suicide when he's 38 for nobody knows why. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, dude? All of these things, all of these systems, I believe, are fully corrupted and need to be like changed. Things need to be changed inherently. Like, who's allowed to be with children in an unsupervised way? The precious little time that fucking staff and faculty has to spend with a child in a public school or a fucking Catholic school or whatever the situation is, a sporting thing. All of those things need to be fucking monitored way closer than they are.
Well,
And
Oh God, yeah.
we have to look at the roots, like we talk about, we've had these discussions about how there's 1,000 things on our list of how horrible our world is, our Western world and what's going on. But if we look at the roots, the inception, I mean, we can't go back millennia, but if we look at, let's say specifically women, bodily sovereignty, abortion rights. Okay. So women, if we go back to Western civilization, let's talk about the United States, women are property. We still are. I reject all the documents that the male white slave owners crafted when they came here and invaded and killed and genocide the indigenous people. So that's off the bat. I reject it all. I'm not, So anyway, so women and children are considered things, and we still are. And that's not going to change. And it happened because of power that the male had, the landowners, the powerful men, and the women that are physically weaker, having children, and children being things and women being things. And that has carried over until where we are today. According to the Constitution, women are not even considered citizens of the United States as we speak. So, yes, things have to change, but if we can go back as far as we can in this society and see how this whole thing started and see where we are now, women and children are considered things, and people in general. That's the overarching philosophy. And so from that comes all this other stuff, where we are today. And I know that's simplistic, but, I don't, nothing in this system is going to change, and it's going to remain the same or get worse. So, the whole thing is, what are we going to do about it? Therein lies the problem. And discussing it and protesting. I mean, you saw my little, since I was like 12, I've been protesting and doing all this stuff for various things, including, women's rights. But
sure,
I think I've accepted the fact that I'm not going to see the changes regarding women's sovereignty, bodily sovereignty, and rights in my lifetime. So what do I do in the meantime? I mean, I have to be realistic, and I'm past my reproductive years. Why do I give a shit? I don't have to worry about abortion anymore. right? I'm not having kids anymore. What do I care, right? No, I do, because I care what's right for everyone, for everything. And that's just who I am,
Yeah, you wish that someone else before you would have stood up for your, you know what I mean? The same rights that you're being.
What's right is right. You have to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. That's kind of where I come from. I'm not a kumbaya, let's all hug type of person. I'm not like, let's educate and whatever. I'm like, things are fucked. Most people are assholes. And this is our reality. The only thing I can do is the right thing. So, yeah. And I was talking about, I did do abortion clinic. I helped women. I escorted them to get their abortions in New York City back in the 90s, where those people were standing outside of the clinics with those fetus pictures and stuff.
I remember those.
I got together with the Guerrilla Girls back then, and I put a vest on, and I would stand there and help women as they're being screamed at with the pictures, get in and talk that to them and say, don't listen to them, go in, you have a right to this care, and bring them to the front of the clinic. And, so, I mean, that's something I felt like I felt good about doing.
Hell yeah, that's badass.
I volunteered at Planned Parenthood in the 90s in Oneonta. And I mean, it was a small clinic, college town clinic. But every Thursday, the Catholics would get out there with their picket signs and picket this place that didn't even do abortions. And, well, I was going to volunteer at the one in Utica when I went to school, and they're like, we need escorts. And, I had worked really hard to get into art school, so I was like, but I ended up volunteering again once I left college and went back to Oneonta. But I remember the days of seeing, all these like federal posters of people who were wanted for abortion clinic bombings. And, when they got pretty close, we all got scared. We'd be worried about them, especially the ones that were on the run. We'd be worried about them. Oh my God, are they going to come here? Like, I don't think people really remember this stuff. I mean, 90s wasn't all that great when it came to abortion.
No, and you know what I did? I infiltrated, here the word comes out again, when I was on public assistance when I was pregnant with my now 32-year-old son, and cleaning people's houses, and didn't have any health insurance. So I used, those abortion places, like we'll give you a free abortion test, those crazy religious nuts. They have, those centers. What are they called again? Those pregnancy help centers or whatever.
Yeah.
I used them. I called them and I pretended, to like be alone and didn't know what to do. And I didn't know if I was going to keep the baby, so I can get free testing, free baby shit, free baby furniture. I used those fuckers.
Work 'em.
And when I was done, I took all that shit and donated it to battered women's shelters after I had my kid. Those fuckers.
Right on. You subversive little so-and-so. That's fucking great. Motherfucker. That's why the M stands for motherfucker.
Infiltrate. So the reality is, after all I've been through, the best thing I could do is infiltrate as much as I can.
Yes.
Well, the services are there. Might as well use them. You don't have to tell them the truth. I mean, they say they're there for, pregnant women who need assistance. So might as well, really?
A Catholic priest has to have a couple of adoptions a year to help cover their income.
Oh, that's insane.
Ka-ching.
Follow that money.
So what Alex was saying earlier about, inequality between men and women, women in still many areas of the U.S., you cannot get a tubal ligation, even just the crimping that you can get reversed. You can't get that unless you're 35
What? What?
or already have 2 children and you're married.
30? Is this a law now or what?
I think
Probably for Medicaid.
no, I think it's state law in some places.
Really? Because I
Yeah,
had,
well,
I had
let me
Medicaid
tell you.
for my last abortion, and I was 30. It was Medicaid, and I had it done in a hospital in New York City. They stopped doing that after that, but they asked me. They said, and I already had another kid, and I was 30, and they said there's a waiting period. At that time, that was 1988. No, 1990. Yeah. And there was a waiting period, 30-day waiting period after I decided to have the abortion. And it was because I had Medicaid. So that was then. And I said, are you serious? I'm a 30-year-old woman. I have 2 children, and you're telling me I have to wait to think about it, to make sure.
Oh my God.
And that was back in 1990.
I wanted to get a tubal ligation in my 20s.
Jesus.
Because, like, first of all, like, I'm a genetic mess. Let's just get that out of the way. but I never wanted children. Still don't. Everybody was telling me, "Oh, you're gonna want kids when you get older." I've been told this my whole life, and I still don't want kids. But I wanted to get one in my 20s, and I was told this. And if I was single, like, well, they'd be like, "Well, what if you get married and your husband wants kids?" I was just like,
so that shows everybody that even then, women, even with this, Roe v. Wade, it's always been fucked, because even with Roe v. Wade enacted and all the states have had restrictions, it's always been difficult and getting worse and worse. And worse. So it's not been like Roe v. Wade was great, now we don't have it anymore, and now it's bad. No, it's never been good. I mean, it really is,
Well, it's like all these like anti-abortion people are saying, well, just use birth control, blah, 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 this and that. I'm like,
no,
birth control fails. The pill fails. The shot fails.
Nothing is 100%
break. Women in a lot of places still can't get tubal ligations unless they fit certain criteria. The only thing that really works is vasectomy, and that's out of a woman's control. So it's like
there's a new procedure called Assure. It's done in the office. It's a procedure that it's a few years old, but I'm sure you have to have some sort of insurance to get it done. I'm just assuming that. Which is not as much of an ordeal as a tubal ligation, but yeah. I'm glad I got my tubal ligation when Medicaid paid for it. Those fuckers. I said, God damn it! I was going back to school. I was going to get off public assistance. I said, I'm getting sterilized, and I'm going to let these fuckers pay for it. So those motherfuckers. I did it again. And had fucking feds pay for my sterilization. Those bastards.
Might as well use the system while it's there.
Yeah, shit.
You can hate
Sadly,
it.
I think that's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
I mean, they definitely make it a pain in the ass to try to use the system, and they have like stringent restrictions and all these bullshit rules, but if you can get past all that, might as well use it while it's there. And who knows how much longer everything's going to be there anyway.
I can remember my kids' mom, my older kids, getting the implant in her arm, and there was like crazy.
Oh my God.
Norplant. It turned her into a fucking insane woman for a long time. It was pretty fucking wild. It was very strange. We did not stay together, needless to say.
The Norplant, all that stuff. Well, being a nurse, I've encountered many, many women over the years, and most of them came off. I work with women from the streets and prisons, and the Norplant thing was just a horrendous situation in there. They put it in your arm, and the side effects are unbelievable.
Oh, they're awful.
You
They're
know,
fucking awful.
but, you know, all this stems from women are pieces of shit, children are crap, you know, people in general are just, you know, worthless, and all this stems from that. You know, it's just but the thing is, what do we do? Absolutely nothing. Infiltrate. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I guess
I found this
it's
meme. It says there's a concept called bodily autonomy. It's generally considered a human right. Bodily autonomy means a person has control over who or what uses their body, for what, and for how long. It's why we can't be forced to donate blood, tissue, or organs, even if you are dead. Even if you'd save and improve 20 lives. It's why someone can't touch you, have sex with you, or use your body in any way without your continuous consent. A fetus is using someone's body parts. Therefore, under bodily autonomy, there is by permission, not by right. It needs a person's continuous consent. If they deny and withdraw their consent, the pregnant person has the right to remove them from that moment. A fetus is equal to the regard because if I need someone else's body parts to live, they could also legally deny me their use. By saying a fetus has a right to someone's body parts until it's born, despite the pregnant person's wishes, you are doing two things. One, granting a fetus more rights than other people's bodies than a born person, and awarding a pregnant person less rights to their body than a corpse. That's a perspective I hadn't thought about, like, in that way, because it makes sense. You know, I have had two of the procedure, what they call the D&C, but it wasn't, and it's the same procedure that it is an abortion, but I had it after I had miscarriages. So I wanted to have these pregnancies, and my body couldn't handle it. And I had to go and have the same procedure. They call it a D&C instead of calling it an abortion. But
no,
I had
D&C
to have it.
is not the same as an abortion. So it's dilation and cutterage. They go in there when you have a miscarriage or something happens and there's tissue left over. That's dangerous. You can get a septic. So they have to go in there. But it's just removing that, whatever's in there, so that it could heal. You know, that it's dilation. Yeah.
But it's the same type of procedure that you're going through.
Yeah, and it's also
in an early stage abortion. Cells. It's the same thing, you know.
And they can really go far on that and say, well, if there's some fetal cells still left or some, you know, whatever cells left in that, then that should be illegal too. I mean, there's some whacked out people that could really go far with this.
It's sad when you go through miscarriage because, of course, the emotions, and especially if you want the potential baby, but going through that and then having to have that procedure, just, you know, it's a very traumatic thing, you know.
Yeah, and it's not something that's easy for a woman to go through. Like, and my reference to that is like, I haven't had like an abortion, but I have had that same procedure that, you know what I mean? It's the same type of procedure that they have to dilate and they, you know,
evacuation of the tissues in there.
Yeah. And it's not comfortable. And I remember the first time that I went through it, oh my gosh, can you please, I don't know either. Okay. I just changed his birdseed. I don't know. I went through that, and like, it's emotionally like traumatizing to go through, especially when you don't want that to be the case. Right. And oh my gosh, I remember the one time I had to have it. It was done. It was on my birthday that I had to go in. It was just awful.
Oh my God.
It was so awful. The other one was like on like Valentine's Day or something.
Wow.
It was so dramatic. Yeah.
Jesus. What the hell?
Yeah, and this was like after having my daughter, having Skyla. Thankfully I call her my miracle baby because she's 18 now, and I didn't have any complications with her. But after the fact, I did, and that's the thing, is that it endangers my health to have a pregnancy. So say I was using every precaution that and then I needed to have a procedure done for a medical reason, that's still going to be denied to women. That is still going to be denied in places where it's always a choice. It would be my choice whether or not I took the risk of a pregnancy or not. And nothing is 100% besides being abstinence. So it's like, what? Do they just expect people just not to have sex? Like, we're already a pissed off nation. Really? Really? You want people to have less?
Well, human beings aren't allowed to enjoy the company of others and be intimate with other people unless they are, financially secure and not mentally ill.
It's a class thing. Now you have to be rich to have sex, Shelly.
It's still the same eugenicist fucking mindset,
Well, I had 3 abortions, and each one was in a completely different way. So it was really fascinating. The first one, I was 18. I met this guy on the subway. I didn't know he was married and had a kid, but he was in a band, and I went to see him, him and his band practice. It was near Madison Square Garden, down on 33rd Street, down on 8th Avenue. But I don't know if you're familiar with it. Anyway, so I'd go there and listen to him, and the band would leave, and then we'd have sex on the floor and whatever. And I didn't use anything or whatever, and I got pregnant. And I went, and in those days, it was 1977, I think, or something, 78. I had the abortion at the Queens Hospital Center. It's a public hospital in Queens, New York. So I went there, and I had the abortion, and that was horrendous because I sat in a room with 25 other women, and we were it was next. They brought us in, they put us out, general anesthesia, did the thing, and then came to in a room with everyone else, and then that was the end of it. The second time was in Boulder, where they put the laminaria. There's a seaweed they put in your cervix, that opening called an os, and it gently opens up the cervix overnight, so that when they go in the next day with that tube to evacuate the fetus and tissue, it doesn't have to open it in such a way that can harm, it doesn't hurt as much.
Oh, I like that.
It's very dramatic. It's very dramatic. It's a medical procedure.
Area out because the os is bigger. And that was nice because I didn't have to be put out. The clinic, they held my hand. I was awake the whole time. I mean, it was traumatic. It was horrible. And the machine went, and took out the stuff. But afterwards, I had some juice and cookies and whatever. And after a few days, it was done. The last time was right before I went to go back to school, to nursing school. And I didn't plan on getting pregnant. I was like, oh, shit. It was with the guy I was going to kick out eventually, that motherfucker. Anyway, so I got pregnant, and I was on Medicaid, and I went to Planned Parenthood this time, and it was in Brooklyn, New York. And I went in, and there was 100 of those crazies with those fetus pictures screaming at me, coming up the stairs. I mean, screaming, oh. And I turned around and I went, fuck you. And I walked up in there, and that was a nice experience, a nice abortion experience. But the women were wonderful there. They, again, they were very supportive and whatever. So each experience was so uniquely different. But I have to go through that. But I'm glad I was able to do it and didn't have to pay for it. I was able to I lived in New York City, and the other time was in Boulder, and but those were not a lot of people had those experiences that I had, because I'm a white chick in a metro area, in a rich area. So most women didn't have the capability or the family support or the wherewithal to do that. So I realized that for sure.
Wow.
General Meow Meow said the government passes legislation that a murdered mother at any stage of pregnancy can be classified as a double homicide. How is that logically sound? The unborn isn't a participant in either.
Well,
They're
I think
considered human
if the baby is old enough to be viable outside of the body, that should be considered a double homicide. But anything
They
before
shouldn't
that,
call them
shouldn't.
babies. They should
Here's
call
the
them
thing. Here's
embryos.
the thing.
If the baby
Now,
wants to
if
viable,
yeah, but here's the thing. I have a friend that went through her entire pregnancy. Everything was fine. She goes to give birth. She gives birth. The baby only lives for less than an hour. She has to bury that baby. Okay? So not only does she lose her child that she wanted, she has to then bury the baby because it came out and it took a breath of air. Right. So if and I know that this is like something like if it was the case that these were all babies, right? And now see, I'm coming at this from somebody who didn't go and have an abortion because I wanted I wanted more children. I wasn't able to have more children, but I still look at it from this perspective. Now, had I with my miscarriages, do you think that I got any kind of grieving? Do you think I got to go and have a funeral or anything? No, because they didn't consider it a life. They didn't consider it a viable, anything. So if a baby is born and is stillborn, that's not, they don't consider that. They do not consider you don't have to bury that child. You don't have to have a funeral service or do anything of that sort. Same thing with child support. It doesn't begin until the child is born. Same thing. You have to have a breath of air. So, I mean, otherwise, can you imagine what our gravesides would look like? I mean, we would have
control
all these little, you know what I mean? Like
it should be
they do define it though. They have defined it. They have defined it.
Who are they? Right.
I am not saying it should be defined by law because
I know
everybody has a different view on it. But
I'm just saying that it's been defined though, obviously, and taken as a standard that we don't bury miscarriages.
Well, morality should not be legislated anyway to begin with, because everybody's morality is different.
Yeah,
there should be just some basics like don't kill people, don't steal from people, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
but we're way past that, Shelley.
Yeah, I know.
That's so 5,000 years ago.
People do what they want. Otherwise, don't.
Well, that's so old school, right?
Yeah, don't encroach on anybody else's sovereignty, and you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Don't encroach on my cunt, motherfucker.
It's about. I mean, that whole debate has been kind of. It is kind of solved when you think about it. Like you don't get to have a life insurance policy on an unborn.
Right. That is it has been decided what the fucking standard is, and that is it. If it's taken a breath, it's a baby. If it hasn't, then it's not. And that's the fucking rules that they already have in place. That doesn't Supreme Court didn't have to do anything about that.
No, those are rules and guidelines that companies go by, that businesses go by, that everybody goes by, that everybody is uniformly understands. I don't get to go and argue. That
line in the sand, right?
We have come to some sort of understanding that that's not really the debate. Right.
The reason why I mentioned, I said viability for double homicide is because there have been instances where a woman has been murdered and the baby was still alive.
Yeah.
And they were able to save the baby. So it's like.
So it took a breath of air.
So it's it's so complicated.
Well, eventually
So
would.
And who makes it
complicated.
complicated? Who makes the rules? Who are they? You know, I say
Yeah.
fuck all of them to fucking hell. Every motherfucking politician, everybody in business, this whole system, this whole Western world, and all the bad people that we know, they can all fucking go to hell. Every fucking one of them.
You know,
I don't
I fe-
accept any of it. I
I
reject
feel the
it
same,
all.
Alex. I feel the
Every
same
fucking
way.
person and every document and every law is bullshit, made to oppress and to murder. Everything.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Well, I'm at the point where there's no fixing
Wow.
everything needs to be torn down, and everything just needs to start from anew.
I think if you can't
fixable.
Right. I think if you can't start from a place where but from the moment that they steered away from the matriarchal fucking system of fucking the planet, that everything went downhill from there. So how about let's switch it back around, let the girls fucking run some shit, because that's the natural order of things. Capitalism just corrupts that. And it's just this illusion that everybody lives, and it doesn't have to be. We can all fucking be on the same page. We can all respect life. We can all fucking, we can all do whatever it takes to fucking make each other's lives more livable. I don't think that's too big of a fucking
We know what needs to
thing.
be done. Years ago, I hitchhiked. I lived in Boulder, Colorado, and I hitchhiked with this guy from Boulder to Tennessee. You ever hear of the farm? It's been there since the 70s. It's a commune, all vegetarian. Well, he was there for a few years, and he wanted me to see it. Well, I couldn't live there because, it was just, I'm a princess,
Right. Jewish princess, love your nails.
But it was wonderful to see everyone in tie-dye, eating vegan, making their own soy milk, children with their hair long. It was just there was so many beautiful things about it.
Yeah.
But this whole idea of, I always, to live in an egalitarian society where people, this whole idealistic system of egalitarianism, it's a wonderful thing, but it's not going to happen. And so the only thing we can do is we're going to be forced to come together and not be isolated. We're going to be forced to help each other to survive. I don't know when that will happen. Things are so bad now, but like everyone's saying, we're going to help each other get abortions. Well, help each other eat, help each other. We're going to be forced.
Help each other fucking not
mutual aid.
Mutual aid.
And live together,
save people from bankruptcy and such.
I don't know. The system won't be changed. We're going to have to form these underground networks of.
That's the thing that I you're like, well, it's not going to change. Well, no. that intention of making new systems to function where old ones are failing is the only way that things can change. You know what I mean? That's the only fucking way. And,
the only change is that
everybody
we
can change enough to realize that each person deserves a fucking hand and be that way and not be so fucking, nose to the grindstone capitalist douchebag on every turn and share, you know what I mean? Just, it's as simple as fucking, preschool and fucking people sharing the fucking wealth that they do have. We have so much, there's so much that some people have, and there's so little that other people have. You know what I mean?
More people are going to have to get uncomfortable, and we're not at that place yet. We think things are bad, and they are bad for a lot of people. It keeps
getting more and more, but I don't see it being any more crazy or frenzied than, the late 70s and middle 70s when the gas prices were freaking out and everybody was freaking out and my mom and dad were freaking out, and I can remember that.
It's to be where the Whole Foods crowd, and I'm one of them. I'm sorry, I go there, but you know what I mean. Yeah. The families who don't want their kids to go to public schools in their neighborhoods and send them to the special private schools, but they live and take advantage of the lower rates, housing and whatever in those other areas. Those comfy people. The people that do their little getaways and their ayahuasca retreats in Costa Rica. And look. You know who I'm talking about,
I
right?
do.
I mean, I don't want to begrudge people their lives and whatever, but when those people can't do that, then we're going to start to see something, maybe, you know.
Well, you know what? It really grossed me out, and in a way, like to see watching the Dead and Co. opener. They open up with the day that the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. The Bobby and the Dead and Co. open up with "Women Are Smarter," with a big pink, feminine symbol and roses and all. And
aren't they cutting edge?
I'm like, oh, you guys are such fucking protesters. What do you call that? Hacktivism? That's just fucking pathetic, dude. It's like you were screaming, everybody go get vaccinated. This is the new virtual signal for today. They mess with our women, our girls, we have to stand up for them.
What about Julian? I mean, there's so many political prisoners. I mean, there's so many
I'm
things
saying
to
there's
say.
so many things that if you're going to fucking take a stand about something,
Take a stand, motherfucker.
you're going to take the movie of the week one? Really? You're a fucking douchebag.
It's the newest thing. And this is the newest thing, guys. We have to realize that we have to see the patterns. Right? They keep distracting us. Remember, it was Ukraine before that. It was, you know what I mean? Oh, and then monkeypox didn't really catch on very well. So we got to stir people up.
Don't worry.
We got to stir everybody up with this. And it just because we're saying that women should have a right to choose doesn't mean that we support, it's not, I don't think about it as killing babies because a woman doesn't want, no, that's not. It's not the same thing. And when people think about a baby is that is an infant that is born, that is a born, a human that is created and that is baked.
That's a natural born baby.
They've already developed especially early on in pregnancy, that it does not resemble a baby. It's not something that could live outside of the womb. It's not a baby. And
it looks like a fetus of so many other mammals. It's like you can't even recognize it as a human until 4 months.
And it has a penis and vagina. It has a penis and the clitoris turns into the penis. Yeah.
And the ovaries turn into the testes or something like that.
Yes. All the babies all the fetuses start out as female, and then they develop into
get all screwy. They get all screwy in the thing as they're cooking. That's why it's important to leave your babies cooking long enough.
This whole thing about body sovereignty, I know I might have some philosophies that are a little over the top, but I've always felt this way. You should be able to you should be able to take things out of your body, put things in your body, do things to your body, as long as it doesn't affect anyone else, without any issue whatsoever, and then make decisions about your children. And people could look at you and think, oh my God, what they're doing is the worst thing in the world. Look what they're doing. And they're vomiting from it. But you know what? That's not the issue. That's how I feel, really, and that's very simple,
I think the craziness of the pro-choice movement going on, it doesn't even feel like pro-choice. It feels like pro-abortion, because I know people who are personally against abortion, but they're very pro-choice, and it's alienating a lot of people. It's
it should all be health care for all, free for every single human being. And then from that health care it covers all health care, whatever it is, psychological, reproductive, whatever, health care.
I was told today by a friend that they had a family member that had a pregnancy and that they had a late term abortion. And I was like, oh, wow. I kind of had that that's crazy. And a lot of people won't admit that they had something. And they said, because they found out that there was no brain development there. It wasn't a viable,
It would be cruel.
Would not have been born. It would have been harmful, like, you know, to the family, to the child that couple already had. It would have been harmful and hard for them because it wasn't going to be a you know, like, able, you know, like they would need constant care, you know.
I've seen, you know, working in the hospital, I've seen children that were in permanent comas on machines. And because the parents decided to have the kid, you know, either knowing that something was going to happen, because I found out, you know, you get the backstory. One really got me upset because the kid was kept on life support for like 10 years because the parents, because of the religious aspect. And even though I had strong feelings about it, they had their right to make that decision. But it all boils down to women and children are objects, and the powerful have power over everything, including our bodies and every aspect of our lives and existence. And from that comes everything else. So yes, it's about
they need the worker ants. They need the worker ants. They want, you know, the people that have the money. They're going to go somewhere where they can have it. If they want that procedure, they're going to be able to go and have it. They're going to be able to pay for it.
Right?
So they're going to be able to do that.
We're able to go and get anything they wanted.
You know. They'll have those nuclear, you know, fucking apartment building size planes flying around where you could just go get your stuff done and just orbit the Earth for, you know, a month or whatever and get a tan. You know, they'll tilt the plane so you can just catch the sun.
So Bill is saying that it's literally a direct line for the eugenics movement. The push to legalize abortion stems directly from the
okay. So he's right.
Yeah.
It started out with sterilization, forced sterilization, and then they moved to birth control, and then they moved to abortion, and then they put abortion clinics, more abortion clinics in black neighborhoods than any place else.
Right.
So he's right on that. So it's, again, complicated.
Bill, right on.
It's a very complicated issue. It is.
But women have been using abortifactants for millennia. So abortion isn't anything new either. So it's like it's basically a fine balance kind of thing. You know what I mean? Give people the right to choose what they want to do with their bodies, but don't be putting out propaganda saying you shouldn't be having a child unless you're financially stable and all this shit. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just narrative-driven fucking garbage, as always.
Both sides are doing it.
Yes.
Both sides are saying this.
Yep. I mean, because they could then the case could be, well, I need one of your kidneys because it's going to save a life.
Exactly.
Or I need your stem cells because your stem cells are going to save.
It's the same thing.
There's fetus stem cells in these vaccines that they force on everyone.
You have to take these boops because you want everybody else to be safe, don't you?
Really, I agree. Bodily autonomy should be codified too, but I don't think we ever really had it. I really don't.
No,
they're forcing women at the border to have hysterectomies. They're literally doing this at the border right now. They are taking the women and they are forcing them to have hysterectomies.
And it's not just at the border; it's any place where there's an immigrant detention center.
Right.
Yes.
It's not just at the border. It's not just in the Southwest.
That's not even to say all the chemicals in the drinking water in certain places and things over the years. Like they've systematically been trying to do this. Eugenicists have been hard at work for a long time.
They're doing it from every angle. Like,
and it's selective. Now I think it's like selective eugenicists, right? Like they use it selectively how they want to use it, on who they want to use it.
And the term has been, everybody's been desensitized to the term eugenicist or eugenics. Like it's just it's common.
I've been called a Nazi and
a
eugenicist.
Common term
like,
now.
What the hell? I'm not.
Perfectly acceptable smear term.
But a lot of people still think that the eugenics is just a thing of the past, or it's some far right thing, and it's like, no, it's still going. It's just that you use different words now. That's it. You just have a different PR team, and people up. There's just some people you can't get through with this. Like,
and they have all the money now. They're the biggest cartel in the world. They can control everybody's perception of it.
It's like trying to tell people that there's still human experimentation going on. And they're like, oh no, the CIA said that ended in the 70s and shit like that. It's like, no, it A, went operational, and B, the experimentation just moved to other departments. And try to explain this to some people. It's like trying to it's basically like hitting your head into a brick wall. Sometimes you do get through to people though.
You know what? My philosophy, as you know, again, I know it's boring that most people are assholes. That's default. Prove yourself not to be an asshole. I'll welcome you with open arms. But, we all are just, we're all on these channels. We're all upset. We're talking, discussing. And what is the root? The American psyche is unique. I mean, I know there's the Western psyche, but Americans, there's this love of authority. There's this welcoming of authority. Remember question authority in the 70s? That it should be fuck authority, but we bow down to authority. But why? We lack critical thinking skills for the most part. We have a below 6th grade average reading level. We are emotionally immature. We have, for some reason, developed this psyche that encompasses those aspects, and that we are responsible. All this shit, this hellscape, I call whatever that reality is.
It really is.
Why is this happening? Why do people? Why? I know there are a lot of people that come from other cultures and come here and everything, but I think that for the most part, there's this psyche here. There's this thing that prevents us from an awakening, an awareness.
It's a jamming.
A critical thinking light bulb. I mean,
it's the calcification of our pineal gland and everything. Yeah. It's in our water. It's in our food. It's in our culture. It's everywhere.
Like this. We're dealing with masses of people, and these people are suffering more, and at the same time obeying and accepting, and not developed enough to think about stuff and hate others. Is a xenophobic aspect to our culture, and this is who we are basically. So when you have that as a starting point, that's why I have zero expectations, because I feel that's my philosophy about this culture, and so it's sad, but it helps me not get upset and angry or frustrated about us, because this is who we are. So, you can't change them, right?
Nope. We could just influence each other. That idea that you put across of it's a systematic dumbing down and across all fucking platforms, like keeping people as dumb as possible, but smart enough to run the machines and not question the bosses. Like that, staying in that medium, you know what I mean? If that guy's got a pack of cigarettes and can stop at Dunkin's on the way to work, his life is fine. You know what I mean? That's it.
Rockefellers for that.
Yeah, man. It's just boom.
People like us are rare. And look at all these people that are revealing themselves to us. People that we thought were like us. Now they're turning out to be shit libs,
Yeah.
Like every day, it's like, oh my God, that person is now saying that. Oh, I thought that person. All of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young are now fucked.
It's like, really disappointing to see all the rock icon people.
What the fuck?
be so ill-informed about everything.
It's crazy.
God damn it.
What?
So it's
What the
like
fuck?
we really are rare. We are outliers.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's all good. People can take us or leave us, but we're just going to keep talking and say the things.
And I'm not going to put anybody down for thinking a different way.
No.
Like
Please.
I feel the way I feel, like, you know, and I'm open to conversation, always open to conversation. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to convince me of something otherwise, but I'm open to having that conversation to see where we can meet in the middle. Where do we really, where is that fine line of where we don't agree?
Don't get in a shouting match with people. It's not the way to build relationships and build connections. I mean, I've got some really liberal friends and they have some differing opinions than me, but it's like we still have that human connection and we still have things in common. And and I have very conservative friends and I definitely don't agree with them either. But it's like you have to see past people's politics because there are more good people out there than we think.
I say fuck you. If you don't feel, look, we're all individuals. We're all our own entity with our own feelings and opinions and everything. And we all have a lot in common, yes. But I've come to the feeling that if a human being does not connect with me on the basic tenets of humanity that I hold so dear, and they don't share those deeply important things that I hold dear, they can go fuck off. Really? We have something in common. If you're not holding humanity, if you're not a humanist and don't approach humanity the way I do in these particular ways, you can go fuck off. I'm sorry.
Well, like Jilly said here, how is a personal choice eugenicist? Like, that's true.
Yeah, it's not in eugenics.
It's not. Like, I understand the whole concept of why it started, but we've evolved from that.
Eugenics
What is the definition of eugenics? Eugenics
is basically a bunk science saying that you can basically make the perfect human being if you weed out certain genetics. Right. It's all
like what they do with the dog. You know what I mean? They get a purebred, and then what happens when you have a purebred? You end up with all the same health issues of that. It becomes traits of that purebred.
Yeah.
Like Dolly the sheep, when they clone the sheep in England. Is that?
Yeah, man. You could have
Louise Brown, born in out of a petri dish.
They made a thingfish back in the 70s.
And I really want to understand something. How can there be the term conservative or liberal judges? I thought a judge's job was to be in the middle, to like not have like this way or that way. You know what I mean? Like it drives me nuts when I hear, oh well, they are conservative judges. What that doesn't make sense. That those two shouldn't be in the same sentence.
No.
I must have got the date wrong.
You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. It's not logical.
Okay, so the thing about judges is that they can have their own personal politics, but when it comes to their judgment in court, they have to go by the law and their interpretation of the law, not bring their own political agenda into it.
And the whole system is fucked up, right?
It's technically supposed to run.
These people are paid off and they have favors, and I mean, the whole thing is just corrupt.
Corrupt to the core. But I
mean, how do we have people that can't even that have a title to themselves, a conservative judge? How could you have a conservative judge and then say judge and expect that they're going to make decisions for the country and they're not elected?
Well, that's
they're
the thing.
Not fucking elected.
It has nothing to do with conservative or progressive or any sort of thing like that. It has to do with, are you a team player? When you're asked, do you vote the right way? Okay, you got the job. You're in. Good going. Way to hustle out there. Mona C. I see
something positive in my area in Albuquerque, though. Something positive. They have a mutual aid here, and they're doing something, and I want to get involved with people allow others to use a piece of their land to grow food on.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's
so
amazing.
Isn't that fantastic?
Fuck yeah. That is dope as hell. Really cool.
I was saying that to JB when JB from Revolutionary Blackout Network, when he was on, he was like, yeah, I have a yard. I can't be out there and do gardening. And I was like, well, what about inviting like other people that are able-bodied and willing to come and garden? That maybe they don't have the place where they can garden, but they have your place and they can come garden there, and then they can share.
Yeah, man.
You know,
that's that mutual aid shit.
Well, it's like this is the first place I've ever lived that didn't even have like the smallest patch of yard. Like I don't even have a porch. It's an.
You don't have a landing strip, Shelley.
It's just sidewalk. Oh. Yeah, I know. I need to find another place, but I can't even. Like, I have a hard enough time growing plants inside my apartment because I only have 3 windows, and I have been desperate. Like I want to garden so bad. Like all I want to do is like garden, like grow a bunch of stuff and can and freeze a bunch of stuff for myself, and then give the rest away. Like I would love to do that.
I don't imagine if you had a neighbor that was like, hey, yeah, I have a little bit of land here and you can use this little, even if it was a small plot of land,
it's
like
really cool idea for everybody, like people with land to share it with the people who don't have land that need food.
Land meaning a front yard even.
Everybody needs food, man. And that's a way to get food.
Your lawn does not have to be grass. Your yard can be garden.
Fuck yeah.
$4, right?
It would even be cool to like add to that with chickens, and like people can come by and take turns to take care of the chickens.
That's a lot of work.
Well, no, I have like a community or like on private property, but like have community chicken coop, and then
I've seen that before up here.
So you have different people taking care of it every day, just so it's not overwhelming for 1 or 2 people.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen a couple places around here like that. Yeah.
I mean, I live out in the middle of the country. There's more people. I think there's more people out here that would be willing to do something and actually keep up on it.
In the last couple of years, I guess the last like 5 years now, they've been growing hemp in Connecticut like crazy. And they've been letting people do that, like where the school owns a bunch of fucking places where you can grow a bunch of hemp for them. So, and you can grow it for yourself too. So you grow, half is yours and half is theirs, and you can that can be your gig, just growing weed for the fucking Yukon or whatever.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm pretty sure they have that same thing at SUNY there. Or where's the other schools? Where's the other place? There's
SUNY Mooresville.
Yeah, there's
they're the first ones in the country, I think, to start cannabis agricultural classes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it's really funny. There's a SUNY Morrisville campus in Norwich, so it's kind of cool.
Fuck yeah.
They don't teach it there, but
But that's really dope.
Yeah, and I think SUNY Cobleskill and SUNY Delhi have picked up on that. They're also agricultural colleges.
Yep.
So it's spreading. It's really cool.
Teaching kids how to grow weed. It's about the damn time.
And it's not just about the weed. There's so much great stuff. You can use what's left over from harvesting the weed and use that for like hemp. It's no different.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many uses, like recomposting it and using it for the soil that you grow it in. I mean, like there's so many things, so many textiles and just varied uses for it. But the idea that a school is teaching people how to fucking grow weed and utilize the products that are inherent in that fucking plant is amazing. To me, anyway, I've been like wanting, I've been a marijuana advocate since I was like old enough to fucking be bitching about it being illegal.
Well, I I've never had a problem with it. My mom's never had a problem with it. My mom let my brother smoke in the house because he had severe I know a lot of ADHD is actually just the way we teach kids and stuff and the way we try to mold them. But my brother 100% had severe ADHD. And it was the only thing that made him better. Even, in his 30s before he died, like when he had his weed, he was fine.
Yep.
Do you know,
I know a lot of people like that.
So I never understood what the big deal about weed was.
Well, here's a sob story. I got my medical cannabis card a couple of years back. New Mexico the recreational cannabis just started this April. And I had the medical card. Well, I got a shitload of edibles because it's hard to smoke because it bothers my throat. So I figured I'll do the edibles, right?
Sure.
I got a shitload of them, I'll just get a whole bunch and, So I took them twice, and each time I got so violently ill, it took me days to recover. So I couldn't return the stuff.
Damn.
So I gave it to the woman who does my hair, and she was in tears of thankfulness.
Oh my God, I know. I would be like,
yeah.
I would be
She was like, "Wah," and she loved it. I was like, well, at least I get, I don't want to throw them out,
So what is the deal? What make you ill about consuming it that way?
I did it small doses, and followed the rules, and I was just puking and on the floor and spinning and sick for days on end. And I thought the first time was a fluke. And then I did it the second time. It was the same thing. I said, fuck it.
It's really uncommon, but some people really do have that kind of reaction to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I know a couple people that are
some
huge
people can only
stoners.
do edibles.
Yeah. I just do hash is the only thing. Like two hits of hash, I'm good to go for hours,
That's
that,
awesome.
That's about it, But the whole, I don't know. The only thing we could do is look for those places in our areas, in our community that we can put energy to support in the community to help people that don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my philosophy. That's,
I mean, I'm lucky enough that, I live in an area where there's a lot of farms, and Chobani is right here, and they donate so much yogurt.
Chobani yogurt.
They donate to food banks. The food giveaways. They like during Christmas and stuff, they hand out just flats of whoever wants the yogurt. They have a free yogurt truck in the summer for events. Like, they're really good.
Really.
And they do a lot more for the local community, and the food banks around here are actually pretty good. They're a hell of a lot better than Oneana. Oneana is bigger than here. But it only goes so far.
You shouldn't have to have food banks, and now they don't have enough food for the food banks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we talk about, we shouldn't even be discussing the fact that there's not enough food in the food banks. And, I mean, we're put in this position where we're happy that these people are doing it, but these people in big corporations shouldn't even be here in the first place.
And they do it for other reasons. No matter how much it looks positive and beneficial to them, they do it because it's a tax write-off, because it's part of a contract or whatever. And I'm not saying it's bad, like what they're doing, you know what I mean, to put them down. But the truth behind it is that they reap a benefit from that.
Well, I know. Like, I knew the owner like way back in the past. I have friends that are really, really good friends with him, and he's just a really nice guy. He is an immigrant. He helps local immigrants get jobs, and my old best friend only had a GED. She started off on the line, I think, and she worked her way up to the lab.
That's rare. I
think they pay for education to get into the lab. Yeah, it's actually a
Rare.
really, really good company to work for. And I think it went completely 100% employee owned, just like Golden. Oh, I think Chobani went 100% employee owned. And then Golden Paints that already had like a stock thing for their employees, then they like last year went 100% employee owned. So like the owners are really nice. So I know of them. Like,
oh, you know what? Another thing you could do to infiltrate. I'm very good at. I get right to companies where I buy their products, or I don't, and I say I really love your product. Please contact us. Tell us about what you liked about our product, and I get a shitload of coupons. For good shit, for good food.
Man,
I used to do that all the time when I was younger, all the time. And I would get coupons for like all the hair product that like
everything,
whatever it was that I used.
Do they still do that?
Oh yeah, and you can, some of these are free.
Yes.
Buy one get one free, or 5 coupons for free things,
Sure.
and you can get these and give them and give them as part of mutual aid as well.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and share for more shopping tips from Lady Alex.
Right?
Only use laboratory grade glass for your dildos.
Laboratory grade.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Laboratory grade acid. Is that what she said?
Glass.
What? Oh, glass.
For people wondering in the chat,
And acid.
Bonnie, they use all natural ingredients, and their milk is bovine growth hormone free. So,
and
is it CRISPR? Is it CRISPR free?
Are they CRISPR cows?
critters.
I heard CRISPR cows put out twice as much milk, but the yogurt is delicious.
Well, they get their milk throughout New York City, and there's a lot of dairy farms here. So
yeah,
I know about you upstaters. I'm one of those.
Shut up.
I'm really one of those jaded, stuck-up city gals.
Yeah,
so I look at you as
the assholes down there.
we're like,
yeah, we're just like the little state next door.
We're like the little state next door, full of hypocrites.
I know, for being such a small state that we live in Connecticut, man, we got a lot of big fucking names here, man. We got all the big insurance companies.
Yeah,
we got like Boeing.
Yeah.
We got freaking
all your military industrial complexes.
We got Electric Boat that makes all the subs. I mean, we got ESPN. We got all the big insurance companies. Like we got all of it. But still, again,
spell. God damn it.
Elle said she met Michael Moore at a premiere in LA comedians. That's and he gave her a pencil. Right on.
Did it say Pfizer on it?
Did it say Pfizer? Did it say Biden?
Pfizer
2020.
Or Biden 2020.
We have to remember that, like, they use
harder, everybody.
All of this to distract us. They use this to divide us, and we need to overcome the division and say, okay, I know Alex wants to say no, fuck you, but but people evolve their opinions, and the only way that we're going to get people to understand is being open enough to allow
beat them over
to
the
speak.
fucking head with it repeatedly, like a violent mugging in New York City Central Park. Like that the scene in the movie The Warriors. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh my god,
come on,
Warriors.
Are you with me?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, have a persuasive conversation with people. Challenge them. Challenge their notions.
I'm spending what? I'm 63.
Even if it's just for fun, even if you just take pleasure in the fucking.
Steve, I'm exhausted from talking to religious people and concern. Look, I've spent years and years and years discussing, and I'm just so tired of.
Yeah, if you have any batteries, fucking
my lithium battery is like
knock yourself out. Be careful of those lithium batteries; they'll blow up on you. I just had to put a new one in the phone.
Well,
but,
I get it.
Yeah, his phone did that. His phone battery
did.
got all big.
But yeah, you got to have the energy to do it.
George.
We encourage
the
people
to get the less bullshit you want to put up with.
Right.
Less drama you want to get involved with.
Exactly.
You
have to decide. I'm sorry. You have to decide how much bullshit you are willing to fucking deal with. Huh?
Yeah, what's worth
zero
dealing with.
So, just a reminder of George Carlin, guys.
I love him.
Boy, these conservatives are really something, aren't they? They're all in favor of the unborn. They will do anything for the unborn. But once you're born, you're on your own. Pro-life conservatives are obsessed with the fetus from conception to 9 months. After that, they don't want to know about you. They don't want to hear from you. No nothing. No neonatal care, no daycare, no Head Start, no school lunch, no food stamps, no welfare, no nothing. If you're preborn, you're fine. If you're in preschool, you're fucked. That's George Carlin.
Kick rocks, kids.
Well,
and it's really true. We need to make sure, like, if people had a better, if there was a better chance for if people could successfully raise more children, I think more people would want to have more children. And the thing is that abortion's on the decline. It's on the decline. And from what I've read is that most people that do seek abortions it's not like you're young, 16-year-old. A lot of the time it's couples that, that don't want to have a child. They're in committed relationships.
Women of color, poor women of color always.
And now imagine, imagine if they have the support. Imagine if there was daycare, there was Head Start, there was school, there was all the support that you needed, and you had health care. It's also a matter of women need to be able to have health care. They need to be educated to know what it even, how you can prevent pregnancy. If you want to reduce that risk of pregnancy, then you need to know how to do those things. But they're not being taught these things, So it's like we need to remember that this is also about education and about healthcare for women and for men too. Because do men really know what happens with a woman? Do they realize?
Not really. We have a kind of a vague notion.
Society. This is who we are. We're ignorant about our bodies.
Our pineal glands are completely calcified. We steer through life with our penises. And we're blind, and we just that's how men are. That's how men see things. That's how it works, though. That's how
it's part of
how bright the boys
society, are. Male, female, sexuality is sexuality. It's in everything, and it's used to sell everything, and it's used to oppress us. But at the same time, it's we're not connected to our own sexuality, and we don't have reproductive rights, and we have to go back to work when we're not even healed, and we can't even breastfeed our babies. And I mean, the whole thing is a soup of a hellscape.
It is.
I mean, it's all connected. It's all connected.
It's a hot mess, man. It's a hot mess.
Right?
Nothing is linear. Everything is all over the place.
It's all connected.
It's all interconnected too.
It's all erratically connected.
The big distraction right now. The big distraction is the Roe V Wade thing, right? They want us to focus on that one thing, but they're not talking about all the other things that George just that was listed in that, right? They're not talking about the fact that kids aren't safe at school. They're not talking about the fact that
they're not eating at school anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we just ended that.
They're ending school. They're ending all these programs, and it's once you're born, they don't give a fuck about you.
You're on your own, kid.
Well, you got to take the Roe v. Wade decision a little bit further, and it's basically saying, well, your state has a decision as far as what it defines as bodily autonomy. Meaning it goes into medical decisions, it goes into it goes into everything, really.
We shouldn't have a SCOTUS. We shouldn't have a Roe V Wade. We shouldn't have any of this. We should, we know what we need, and then we pick on this. And then George, of course, I love George Carlin, but we can take out the conservatives and put in all lawmakers, all, Democrats, Republicans.
Yeah,
whoever.
I mean, that was an older, he's not
more focused on that, but I understand where he's coming from, and he's right. But, the Democrats and everybody. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the future is going to bring, and I don't know what's going to happen. I know New Mexico, our governor, who's an asshole, by the way, said we're going to, we're not going to let them not have abortions here. And well, there's hardly any clinics here, and the ones that are here, they've been coming from Texas and Oklahoma. They've been coming over to New Mexico for quite a while now, and so I don't know what's going to happen. There's going to be more violence, I think, at these clinics and the states that are allowing it and fighting.
Well, what's going to happen to the women that are if a man gets a woman pregnant, right? And then say he doesn't want that child and she doesn't have and she feels like she doesn't have a way out of that. What's going to happen? I think domestic violence will rise. I think that it's gonna cause a whole influx of more issues.
Yeah,
that aren't being talked about. And the fact is that women don't even have health care in this country to have a fucking child. Women don't have health care. We don't have health care. This is a health care issue. Why is everybody out there for this, but they weren't out there for your bodily autonomy otherwise?
What?
How come they weren't out there?
Are they dumb or are they just mean-spirited? What is, like I said, why do most people in this country, even those we think are, have a little understanding, why do the masses accept these things? Why
what was that, Shelley?
They're not dumb. They're heavily indoctrinated. They're just
they accept it. They accept it. They're not indoctrinated. I mean,
and more
choice,
people
right?
up, but not enough fast enough. And there's just a lot of people you're not going to be able to reach. But yeah, I try not to think of people as dumb. It comes out, but I try not to do that.
I don't try. I just look, I guess it's what our experiences have been. I've worked in a field of people and I talk on the phone to hundreds of people a week, and I have dealt with people. I had a people job and spoke to people from with 1 million degrees and whatever, down to people that were brought in handcuffs off the street, and everyone in between. And most people really don't have some basic awarenesses of what's going on in this society, and therein lies the problem, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Gray Walker, I would say join third party of your choice and back that, but I don't have faith in our electoral politics anymore. And that the Green Party actually was pro mandate, pro lockdown, pro everything else. They are against your bodily autonomy. I can't support that. No. I can't
yeah,
support
fuck
that.
the Green Party.
It's sad. It's sad. It's fucking depressing. It's fucking depressing.
Everything's depressing. Isn't it fucked up? It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. And I remember saying this in my 20s, the world, and 30s, and going through this in my 40s, 50s. I'm like, here I am going, wow, what the fuck? It's like
my daughter's 18 and she's like, I don't want to have kids. I don't want to bring kids into the world. I don't want to bring kids into this.
Yeah, I can't blame her either.
I can't either. And it's depressing to me.
It's like she has to make choices based on a false, horrible world that she's living in, She can't really be her real self.
Well,
and participate in her world in the way that she naturally,
Well, she's told me, she's like, I don't even know how my friends are picking their colleges and going to college with the world and the condition that it's in. She's like, they're just, like she's aware. She's fucking aware of what is happening and what is being handed to her. And so many people just continue to just put their blinders on and just charge forward. And, oh, this thing is happening. Let me, go out, be outraged about this. Oh, this thing is happening. Let me be outraged about this. But missing the majority of what really is happening and all the pieces that connects to, and the fact that they're distracting us on purpose. They're and when I say they, I mean, the 1%, the powers that be that think that they know best for us and that think that they can decide for us. Because remember, we're like just the worker ants to them. We can be squashed. We can be sacrificed. It doesn't matter as long as that we keep producing. And if everybody was so pro-life, then why are there children that need to be adopted? We don't have like a lack of of children that need homes. And then and then it's like, if you don't have it, and it goes back to your income. Because if you don't have the income to adopt or open, if I don't have an extra room in my, tiny 2-bedroom apartment, if I was able to have, like, I would have fostered children and absolutely loved to do that, because I love children, and I've always been I'm always the one that's like playing with the kids at like the wedding, or at the at the party, I'm the one doing face paint for the kids or doing craft, or I love doing that and I love interacting with them. And I was only able to have my one daughter, and I wanted to have more children, but I wasn't able to, and that wasn't a choice that that was the cards, and so I always just, was always like, oh yeah, more kids the merrier. I only had one kid, but I always had like all the extra kids, pile them on in. What's another one, and that's just, I because I love kids, but that's not for everybody. That's not where, where everybody wants to be. Not everybody wants to be like, the place where all kids gather. Yeah. But and I would, if I had the means, I would have absolutely been a foster parent. I had friends, like when Skylar was little, like they specifically took in the high needs, high risk, drug addicted babies on purpose, because they had the specific medical training and background to do that. And they were foster parent for those children because they specifically needed those type of homes for those children. And they're the unwanteds, and it's like, there's so many though, that need a loving home, that need, someone to take care of them. And to add to that problem, it just doesn't seem right.
Those kids are yet another portion of our society, of humanity, that are fucked. You got the kids and the babies that are unwanted and sick and abused. You got your people working until they drop dead because they can't retire, barely making it. You got there's so many categories of people and their sufferings. It's unbelievable.
And it doesn't
this is who we are. Welcome to our society, right?
It doesn't have to be that, for supposedly the wealthiest country in the world, like, we have so many
wealthy in what?
Our number one export is military stuff. Number one, that's the only thing we're good at.
Our military is from like company valuation and profits and stuff, but it's like, where is that all going? Into their bank accounts, into land grabs, into, so many different things that are not helping anybody. And it's just destroying society.
So what do we do now? What can we do to save the world? Anyone have any ideas of things we could do to change it soon?
I say we take the government and kick him in the nuts.
We need to rally the people and make them realize that we don't have to stay under their rule. We need parallel societies. I don't know that I have the exact solution, but we need to break away from what the powers that are trying to control us.
It's only going to happen when we're forced to connect with each other for survival. We're too comfortable. There's not enough of us that are suffering and on the streets. It has to get to an immense proportion, exponential suffering that we
clearly it has to get more.
It has to be.
A million people on the streets doesn't do it. It has to be tens of millions.
How many houseless people do we have, like in the state of California?
Not enough yet.
Why aren't they gathering those people and saying, "Hey, come on, let's go. Let's."
I mean, people who are on the verge of homelessness. Like, there's so many more of those too, and it's like just gather everybody up. We could get millions of people together easily.
But they keep us divided.
Exactly.
And they keep us focused on an issue as in Roe v. Wade as being an issue, but it's really that we are divided because we don't have health care, because we don't have all the things that we need. You know what I mean? It's like that's just a trickle down of it. You know, it starts out with like, oh yeah, it's this issue that is a big issue, right? But But to grasp at Roe v. Wade as being the issue, it erases all the other issues that brought us to where we are.
Yeah, it's just
always.
It's
like you have to ignore the rest of everything else that we don't have health care.
Some kind of fucking morality play with these fucking assholes. That's what they do all the time. They try to use religious dogma and fucking and fancy lawyer speak
built
constantly to twist the truth around and maintain them driving the narrative.
There, Shelley.
It is our choice. Ultimately, we the people, quote unquote, from that wretched, silly document. We talk about propaganda. We talk about brainwashing. We talk about being divided. And yes, you can't ignore the fact the media is doing that and everything. But we are ultimately the ones responsible for allowing this to continue. We are the ones. It is in our hands.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it is our responsibility collectively to change it. So no, we cannot blame the oppressors. I don't blame them. I don't blame mainstream media. I don't blame anybody but ourselves for the perpetuation of this horror. Because if millions and hundreds of millions of us would descend upon them and destroy this, I mean, who knows what's going to happen after that? But God damn it, what else can we do at this point? Do we continue on? So that's why I keep saying.
Well, look what General Meow Meow said. Rich people don't stress about it. They don't.
No,
they don't have to.
Well, that's the thing, is that comfort pillow is getting small. That buckwheat fucking Oriental pillow is getting smaller and smaller. That pillow guy is making more and more money. He's putting less and less pillow together. And you guys are just, you know what I mean? That's just the system and the loop that we're in. And until, you're right, until everybody decides to
enough is enough
to say, I don't have any more fucks to give, let's go. We're going, we need this, we need this, we need this. We've gone long enough without these things. Let's go take them back. And that's how fucking change happens. That's how fucking countries break off and fucking that's how people fucking endure on this planet. And if they figure out how to do that in a sustainable way, I'm there for all of it, no matter what it means. I think that's a positive move forward for people.
I mean, I could go out on my street corner and stand there with a sign, and I've done that in the past alone or with another person, and with my Free Assange sign, and maybe somebody will shoot me. Or maybe somebody will come over and club me over the head. I mean, this is my reality. I mean, is that crazy?
Right. It is.
You can't even speak up for anything anymore unless it's like.
But if I have a big American flag on the back of my truck and a "Don't Tread on Me" and a Confederate flag, which I've seen around here, believe it or not, nobody will say a word. But if I have a peace sign thing or have a thing or some, I will be attacked.
I see both
goddamn
around
hippie.
here.
Yeah, like the hippies are like always put down as like this, like it's bad to be about love and wanting better for others. It's like, how is anti-war? How is that a bad thing?
It's just spin,
How?
man. It's always been
know.
about spin. It's always about spin. It's about building stereotypes that a fucking 3-year-old can identify, and that's it. That doesn't go any further. It doesn't have to go any further than that. Nobody will think any further.
No, because you
than
can
that
just
for
cancel
themselves.
somebody out. Oh, yeah, you're
cancel
just
them.
this.
You have long hair.
I
You have a
cancel.
beard. You can absolutely. But I'm saying, I gave people the benefit of the doubt. I don't care what you look like, what you fucking sound like, whatever. If you're an asshole, I'm gonna know it pretty fucking quick.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's it. And then I'll judge. Then I'll fucking pass judgment on your ass.
Fuck off, motherfucker.
but that's the deal. You know what I mean? Everybody gets a fair shot. You got a shot. How you
show me what
looking?
you
Got,
got,
what's
right,
up?
Steve? Show me
Exactly.
what you got. Show me
Don't
what you
fucking
got.
bullshit me.
And then
Show me
fuck
what you
off.
got. Exactly.
Hey,
Motherfucker.
That's a great philosophy. Come on.
Yes. I mean, it's served me pretty fucking well over life. I mean, it's the way to be. I don't know. If you're real, then you're real. And please be real all the time. Don't go out of your way for me, but just this once, could you just fucking tell me the truth when I fucking talk to you? That would be fantastic. If everybody approached each moment like that, imagine what we could do.
I think it's been so much that's happened over so long that it's like we've grown to, like, they've worn us down. You think about it like a little kid that's whining constantly and nagging and nagging and nagging and nagging. And like, unless you hold your ground and hold firm, that kid learns. Or the same thing with like when you're training, like if you have a puppy or an animal, any like over and over and over again, eventually you get worn down, and then you just like, fine,
basic discipline.
Like we have to when we say
none.
no,
We're taught no discipline
and stand our ground. We need to stand that ground and hold that ground, and not bend over and say, fine, you're just annoying me so much with it that I'll just fine. Like
to me, it's like
we have more of a backbone,
right? Everybody, I don't know. To me, it's like you're not taught self-control. You're just taught to fucking make up your own mind, but don't make it up a different way than somebody else already thought for you. You know what I mean? That's the indoctrination aspect of it, is like, well, if you're thinking too far out from either side of what the fucking thing being presented to you is, then there's a chance you could be a communist or something. You know what I mean? You could be bad, and it's just this mindset. That's why we're all so collectively fucking dumbed down. You know what I mean? We see everything in that way, like,
well, because people
it's either this way or that way,
and then they
binary.
Continued. They haven't stopped,
and until we tell you different, you know what I mean? That's the thing, and that's, people are so willing to be fucking ruled in that way, like where they don't have to worry about it as long as they got fucking gas money, pack of cigarettes, and Dunkins on the way to work. You know what I mean? Like, all of those things line up for them in their day, then life ain't too bad, and they can fucking not worry about imperialist America fucking wreaking havoc all over the planet and stealing resources and doing all their fun stuff that they do. It's way easier to just blot all that shit out.
Yeah, we've morphed into a society of where things fulfill us. We're disconnected from our internal selves. We don't have connections. We've been forced to be not in families or community because of the system. So that is a baseline there. And then you add on our love of authority and our general ignorance. And also there's a lot of people that can't afford and don't have the luxury to get out there and put energy into fighting the system, quote unquote. There's so many factors, and it doesn't have anything to do with being propagandized. I mean, that's icing on the cake for them.
Right.
The baseline is so bad that, anything added to that just perpetuates it,
Yeah, the bar is set so fucking low that, and Anybody can do it. Anybody can be a fucking miserable fucking person working a shitty job and not paying attention and just doing the fucking worker bee fucking drone behavior.
People are still
really is
enlisting in the
now.
military. They're enlisting in the military after all these years. The truth is out there of what we've done, but they still do it. There's no draft.
They're crying the numbers are low this year. All the
numbers have been low for a while.
Death jab to death, probably.
Yeah.
Well,
people.
Maybe if they stopped killing, if they stopped sending the people to war to fucking die, I mean, they wouldn't have to worry about it.
Well, they could keep them a little longer.
It's a poor draft too.
It's the same thing.
Like the draft, if we have a draft, it's a fucking poor draft. They don't have to have a draft because they keep the fucking people poor. And they keep them thinking, well, at least I'll be able to go to college on my GI Bill. So, yeah, you might have to go kill a few people. You might have to torture some folks. You know, you might have to torture them.
Don't let anyone you know enlist in the military. You could do that, right? You have the power to do everything you can to prevent anyone from enlisting in the military. Don't let your children enlist, your family members enlist. Put your energy into that. That's something you have some power to do.
Yep.
You know how many people I know in high school that enlisted for the military either for the college or to learn a trade or to travel abroad.
That is generally the reason.
It's not because they want to go kill people typically.
No.
I mean, I've never heard anyone say, like, I want to go be a murderer.
Those are the ones you got to worry about.
I mean, I know people who went into the Air Force because they want to fly planes because it's cool, but it's like,
this is my
that's the only thing, that's the closest thing I heard to anybody saying, well, I want to go out and kill people. And that's not even wanting to go out and kill people, that's wanting to fly planes. Because
would they confess it if they did? I mean, like, you know, would they? They probably don't pass the freaking psych test to get into the military.
Those are the sketchy guys that are like, I really just want to go kill a bunch of motherfuckers. You got anything in killing people?
Let's make him an officer immediately.
Make him an officer immediately.
Or there's people that get recruited for special forces and shit.
Right.
And I grew up as a military brat.
Clearly, he's a ranger.
I was a military brat. I was completely like, you know, little 10-year-old me. I'm like listening to taps play on Governor's Island in New York. I lived there. And they played taps every night when they lowered the flag. And I would stand there, you know, the whole island would freeze. You know, if we were driving, we would stop. Everyone would face the flag. And we would listen to them play the actual live trumpet up there while they took that flag down.
A lot of rituals in the military.
And it happened every night. And like, you know, if we were in our house or whatever, we didn't hear it. Like, it wasn't a thing. But if you were outside, a lot of times, you know, like I was a kid, I was outside, and that's when I had to be home. You know, taps was on. I had to be home. But I would stand there with my hand on my heart, and we would face the flag, or everyone on the island would freeze, and we would like respect. So I grew up with that, but still kept the senses about me. Still was able to say, like, whoa, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. What is happening?
You're very fortunate that you are who you are. Not many people are that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are raised in that environment that go on to, you know, either worship the military or join themselves. So you lucked out. You were.
I'm lucky.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Lucky. Yes, you are.
Boom, got him.
Your name says it all.
It did. Like it really that became my nickname because it is something I'm always. I'm lucky. I really am. I'm lucky in that. Like, it's something that I'm constantly saying because it's true. I'm very grateful to the fact that I was able to keep, you know, like a clear-headed sense about me and still question things. Believe me, I got a lot of fucking ass beatings growing up in a military household and being one that questions authority. It's in my medical record now that I have a problem with authority. Like, it's literally in my medical record.
Yeah, what was it called? Opposition defiance
Oppositional
disorder.
disorder or opposition.
Oppositional defiance
In other words, you're a
disorder.
badass motherfucker.
It is basically like if you have any problem with authority, you're mentally ill. Like that's another Rockefeller thing.
To me, that means fuck around and find out, bitch.
Yeah. Like,
I worked for the federal government. This person here worked for the feds. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
They didn't know they had the most anti-imperialist, anti-American employee. There were others like me, I'm sure. But,
I'm sure
I had to deal with that whole bullshit, the VA and all this managers, they treated and abused their employees and all the bullshit. It's just like a big corporation, and they treat the employees like shit.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. The working conditions and everything. And the poor veterans, you see them walking in there and I dealt with mental health, and these veterans would come back from, the younger ones from these recent wars, and you deal with the ones now that are really sick of the Vietnam vets. They're the ones alive now. They're the older ones. They're the ones they're sick beyond belief, with every chronic condition known to man.
Sure.
But I used to talk to some of the, and I have to be honest with you, a lot of these, I wouldn't engage in my personal talk about anything, but when they would volunteer information, a lot of them were Trump supporters, conservatives. They volunteered this information to me. They blamed immigrants and the liberals for the problems in society. And a lot of these people have this mindset, even after going through all this shit, and they come back and they get screwed by the VA and the government.
Yeah.
But they still don't see who's shit fucking them over.
That's the problem. That's why it works, because it's like that American dream concept that you have to be asleep to believe it, because it's just this thing that doesn't add up really when you went over there and fought in this thing for these people for what reason exactly? You can't even really explain what it is.
If you admit that to yourself, you'll jump
and you
off the
can't
bridge.
admit that to yourself. And they used all sorts of chemicals that fucking are killing you now that you're dying from. My dad died from the same thing, from the effects of being around Agent Orange and all, and fucking carcinogens up the fucking wazoo as they burned down the fucking forest, and they burned down the jungle.
And the burn pits too,
Yeah,
well,
it's just so much fucking heinous fucking
the military is like the biggest polluter.
Fucking demon fucking cult, man.
There's Iraq vets too, and first of all, everybody found out pretty fucking quick they got lied into a war.
Yeah.
And then on top of that psychological, breaking, you got the depleted uranium and the burn fields, and there's Iraq vets now that are seriously ill or dead from all this shit.
Yes.
And that wasn't that long ago, compared to Vietnam.
But then they're
very
seen
similar
as heroes.
very similar fucking chemicals and stuff.
But then they're heroes,
Yes.
they all end up with cancers.
Warriors.
And they're heroes.
They're warriors, right?
They got duped. That's what happened.
And it's the same every single war. It's not like each war is different. You know what I mean? Like they are fooled into fucking having this God sent fucking will that we're going to do this because God told us to, and it's the right thing by God, that whole fucking mindset. It's a cult, man. It's a fucking twisted ass cult, and they're lied to every single time. The fucking industrialists and American industrialists made us join the war in World War II. It was about money. It has nothing to do with fucking anything but money.
And the United States really gives a shit about Jews? Come on.
They don't give a fuck about anybody.
Israel is strategically placed on the planet for our use.
Exactly.
If they weren't there, we wouldn't give a fuck about.
They were like, "Oh, you're gonna let us pick out a country? All right, like a game of fucking Risk. It was the end of Geneva. Was the end of the game of Risk. Everybody sitting around slapping each other on the back for a fucking job well done.
Well,
killed.
America didn't want Jewish refugees during World War II. We refused them, so
Yeah.
we just sent everybody packing to Israel. It's not we really weren't the good guys. We acted like just about everybody else. We
Of
weren't good.
course. Of
Nobody
course.
wanted to do this, so we sent them all to Israel.
Because
Or we
everybody
intentionally
is
bombed them.
Steve,
racist.
can you help me with this?
What?
Please.
I mean, there's stories of like Jewish refugee boats intentionally getting downed, so it would be like added to the atrocity. Be like, oh my god, we got to go into this war. You know, it wasn't. There was so much that happened, and it was just, get that support behind the American people, so they wouldn't like have fucking riots, because that's where the mentality was at that point.
Yep.
Just coming out,
For me, every vet that I've talked to, like, and I've asked them, because I have a way. People open up to me and tell me things that I don't know how, like, they just do. And the vets that I've spoken with, they've told me that, like, I've asked, I remember one younger guy. I asked him. I said, "Now, how do you feel now, knowing what you were a part of?" With with the knowledge that you have now. He goes, if people knew the truth, then we wouldn't sign up for war the way that we do. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have gone there and done it. And he's like, I will not, and he wasn't on social media, and I didn't get his number at the time. I wish I had. So this was like a year ago. I ran into him at Skyla's College, and he said, he's like, I won't shut up about it. That's what happened with the Vietnam vets and everything like that. They're quiet about it. It's that whole like, oh, we're silent on this. We don't talk about this and blah blah blah. He said that's what's wrong. They are doing us dirty by not talking about it, by not speaking the truth about it, because then everyone else is just walking into it thinking like, oh well, I'll be a hero, and it's really. If they really showed what happened over there,
nobody would listen.
If people really knew what happened.
Well, the information's there if you do a few minutes of research about what we've done in the world and the wars. I mean, really, even with all the inundation of the bullshit and lies about it.
But people also think that they're like, the propaganda is so thick also that like, oh, you're keeping us safe here. And we fight them there. We fight the war there. So we don't have to fight it here at home. And we're keeping my family safe. You know what I mean? Like the propaganda is really, it's a really nasty thing. And then people also grab onto that propaganda because they don't want to dig into the truth. They're lazy about it.
To do it, you have to have that light bulb over your head to go, and if that doesn't happen, you don't do that. And that's one of the issues I see with people. I mean, if you do 15 minutes worth of research about anything, you can break away from your mindset and just get into something else and get into something else and get into, but you have to do that. It's a personal thing. No one can tell you to do this.
That's why we need to keep planting seeds with people, though. Even people we don't know. Even if, like, it's somebody at a store. If you plant some sort of seed where you plant an idea,
and you're responsible for that.
Oh,
not necessarily. Not necessarily. Like example. I've had somebody say to me, like in a store, oh, yeah, well, something bad about China and how they manufacture everything. Right. And I'm like, yeah, it's too bad that, you have to think of you have to have quick, witty ways to like respond back that destroys what their narrative is. Yeah. It's like, yeah, well, it really sucks that, that Clinton and all these guys, like, with NAFTA, they sent all the, I mean, why would China not make everything? I mean, like, if they were sending their jobs here, we would take them, you have to kind of have a way to turn that around.
And I've been doing that for years, but when I'm talking about integral change, like a real internal change, I mean, saying those things I do and I have done But for someone internally to come to realizations and awarenesses, yes, some people can introduce them to things, but it's very rare that a person changes that drastically. And when that happens, it's always something that it's something that has to be their own personal epiphany. And it could be happening for maybe somebody, but generally it's their own self-realization for how that happens. And it's rare, and saying things like you said and what I say to others about, yeah, and if the Chinese, but does that take really? No, it doesn't really take.
But it doesn't. It can plant a seed though, and we don't know who we're really. If it's a stranger, we don't know. That might be that one thing that makes them go, wait, what? Wait, what's NAFTA? Do I really know what that is? You know what I mean? And then you never know. I'm just saying, it's not a big thing, but it's something that if you are constantly trying to put that information out there and put truth out there, even in small digestible ways that you can give to a stranger, you never know. They might go and have a whole conversation. This weird, crazy lady with a little dog in the store today, she said something about NAFTA and how, of course, why would China not take all the jobs? Hello, we would. You know what I mean? It can grow.
I don't have faith and take stock in that.
I'm not going to hold my breath on it, but I feel like it is something that if everybody was doing that and just having instead of having, oh yeah, nice weather conversation, and you actually
say it because
said something that was a little bit more of a substance that gives people something that grab onto and possibly think about, you know what I mean? You never know where that could stir up.
Well, I have to be
careful. Can't hurt anything.
Because you can't, I have been known to say that. That's something I've done. And I only say that because I'm pissed off and I want somebody to wake up. But I don't feel that way anymore.
You probably do it without even realizing it.
I do. But the thing is, I don't do it with an expectation that I'm going to change anybody. I just do it because, hey, bleh, But,
I don't go out to the store purposefully thinking I'm going to change a bunch of people's minds.
I've had people threaten me. I've had people scratch my car. I've had people follow me because I had a bumper sticker on my car, which I don't do anymore. People.
Yeah, no, I don't bumper sticker. I don't bumper sticker my man.
Careful. People like us can't be so verbal and out there, unfortunately, because we'll be attacked. We have to be careful. Unfortunately, we don't have freedom of speech. They do, right? The people that are,
the people that are towing the narrative have the freedom to tow that narrative. We don't have that. We don't have the freedom to not tow the narrative. That's what it is. We have the freedom to repeat the talking points, repeat what the powers that be, what they decide is okay speech. There's a buffer, there's a buffer, where you can only go so far. You can think that you're being, I don't know, against the crowd, against the grain, but subversive. But you could only go so far in that before they really start calling you the names, and then that's when you've hit a nerve, is when they want to scratch your car or fuck your bumper stickers up or, come at you. That's when you've hit a nerve. You're right there.
It's been religious people that have attacked me more than anything else. I've had religious nuts threaten me and stuff, and I've had some bad experiences about that. So, I don't discuss shit with people anymore. I'm really exhausted because I used to think, again, I would be able to change them somehow and, give them some seed of whatever. And I've just stopped because I'm just so exhausted. And I also feel it's futile. But if I have a chance to do it in a way where I'm not going to be shot, I'll say something. But, I don't take much stock in that really anymore.
Yeah. This is a really good conversation. I think it's important to have because although we started with, it being about Roe v. Wade, we're getting into the social issues of why they're distracting us with that. And what are they distracting us from? And what really brought us to this point? And I think that's what's different about what we have when we have our organic conversations here is that we allow it to breathe and to move and to flow how it's going to flow. you know, and I really feel like it's really important to continue to have these, whether if it hits a nerve and you don't agree with us, then that's okay too. I'm not here to ask anybody to replace their, you know, my opinion with theirs, because I don't 100% agree with anybody. I don't 100% agree with Steve all the time.
I don't agree with myself.
Yes, you do. Damn it.
Yeah, and my thoughts
Agree
and
with
everything,
me.
like I'm ever evolving,
Agree
you know, with where I
me.
go with things, and like how I would have approached this years ago when I was, you know, when I wanted to have, you know, a child, and I might have looked at a woman and said, oh, I'm going to judge you and say that, you know, it's wrong that you're doing that because I can't have that. You know, like it's really easy for people to take things like that. And like, I'm not saying that I did feel that way, but you know what I mean? I could see why someone could feel that way, but that doesn't make it right. Oh my God, what is wrong with the bird?
Oh, the bird is broken.
They might overturn gay men. This whole thing. Well, now everyone's saying, well, now gay people are nervous because their rights are going to be taken away.
Yeah, I keep
Now they're allowing
hearing
religious people, you know, they're allowing that guy in the NFL to do his religion thing, and they're making that religious schools could be, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's something else that nobody's talking about.
This is the way they've always been. This is nothing new. You think that
Right.
for 5 minutes, gay people
Same.
get, you know, gay people are allowed to get married. Oh, wow. Now gay people are have freedoms, you know. Oh, you know, this and this and this. No. You know, people, that's no.
Well, I have my friends that are getting married. Technically, they would be considered. It would be considered gay marriage because my friend is female to male transition, trans, and the other is a female, both biologically born female. So technically, it is a gay marriage in the law's eyes.
I like how you say that. Gay marriage.
And then this
Well,
whole,
because I mean, I mean, that's a whole nother thing, but it is something that, you know, like, and well, Elle said, and only humans get married. That should tell you something. Well, there are animals that do mate for life, and
Yes,
I don't
there
feel like it's a
That's
mate for
different
life
from marriage,
thing.
though.
I don't think.
Bonds are-
and marriage was put into
No, they don't
place.
have a marriage. No.
And where did marriage come from? The whole
Marriage
the
is
whole,
just a government contract. That's all it is. It's just
and
a
used to be
contract.
men owned women and men owned the children to work on their thing, and it was like
Yeah.
an ownership thing, and
Yeah,
we still
man.
accept that because
Yeah.
it's part of our
I mean,
society. We have to,
papers.
but you know,
It's
I
all
think
about
all
the
marriage should be
papers.
abolished. If you want to get married, go to a church. Government shouldn't be involved. It should just be between you two and whatever you decide to
go
do.
naked bike riding and take a mud bath or something. You know?
Yeah, go do whatever it is
Something
that
more-
you think is going to marry you to that other person. I don't think it's any kind of structured thing. I don't think it should be. I think it should be just like
Yeah,
Well,
like
that's
my
a
it.
friend.
thing that happened.
Like my friend
oh,
having
now
a-
we're married.
My
Okay.
friend having a wedding, I'm like, really? I'm like, I couldn't do what you guys are doing. I couldn't go spend all the money and do the fancy like wedding dress and all the like
want
going to
that
get your hair
stuff.
done. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
do that whole ritual of it. That's not for me.
That's
Me,
the
You want
dark
I'm
ladies
like,
tradition.
dressed in
give me
your-
a
in your
fucking
dress?
campground. Give me a campground. Give me some fucking pineapples. Give me some fucking fun shit to do. We'll do music and party all weekend, and then like that would be a wedding for me. Like
The
let's
whole
do
concept of
tie dyes
marriage.
and fucking stay up
Yeah.
all night and dance around the fire, and
Exactly.
you know that's the kind of thing that I would do. But that's not, you know, like
We accept it, you
but
know,
I
we can't
support
fault-
them with what
we
they're
can't
doing
fault
because that's
ourselves. You know, we
Sure.
can't, you know, I try to be easy on myself. We can't fault ourselves. I mean, the whole marriage that we know it's bullshit. Where did the concept of marriage come from? But we're in this society. We can't.
but there's
we can't
other
divorce ourselves from certain things.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to be kind to yourself about some things. You know, I can't get myself away from major corporations. have to pay taxes, and what, you know, there's certain things I'm doing that are feeding into everything I look at as wrong, you know, but I can't be hard on myself about that, you know. I mean, but
and you know, like not every, like we know people who are married but are swingers. There are like are different relationships for different people, and different people, like, you know, everybody has their own ideal of it. And to me, it's like, that's their choice. As long as you are not hurting somebody else, consenting adults can do what a consenting adults do.
Right.
So what are we going to do when the abortion, when these women and young people, girls die from botched abortions, and what's going to happen when that starts happening?
That they buy online or something that aren't real, or
what?
Yeah, they'll have lots of
bad drugs that they buy online that aren't real, or
yeah,
you know, using some kind of like home concoction that's dangerous.
So what are the Democrats, the People's Party, what are they going to do for us when that starts happening?
Fucking nothing.
The People's Party?
Yeah, party for the working people. The
I don't have any faith.
I don't think that exists, does it?
I'm being facetious, of course.
All right.
You know that. I'm not voting. I don't vote. I don't participate in this bullshit anymore. I've had it. It's over and out for me with that crap. You know.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we're gonna. I mean, we've already seen the increase in suicide, the increase in infant mortality. There's so many horrible things happening to us, and then when we start to see more girls and women dead and maimed from the lack of, you know, even though the abortion situation wasn't so great before, but now even worse. Are we going to see any outcry or changes? No, it's the gun situation. How many children and people are going to have to die? I mean, we tolerate suffering and death, no end. We really do. We do tolerate this.
It gets all up. It gets all lumped together. You know, people are just like dropping dead left and right from, you know, unreported fucking boop injury. And dying in their sleep like children and grown men, and just all sorts of people just dying randomly.
Yeah, it's just sad. It's
really fucking sad shit. Like, not to put be punny about it, but it really is. It's awful, and it's just like another way that people will die. And as you know, the cancers start to begin fucking popping up because, you know, the levels of fucking chemicals that they're spraying on the food, higher fucking autism, higher fucking everything, higher fucking Alzheimer's. All of these things are just cumulative, and they just keep getting worse and keep getting more and more and more and more as we keep the same culture and the same consumption of terrible things and people eating terrible food constantly. You know what I mean? I think that's the thing, is like they'll be able to wean down the population to a manageable level once all of those things come into fruition.
Yeah,
you know
but they don't want us to do too much of that, though.
Well, not too much too fast. You know what I mean? They're trying to just, you know, they boosted it in the last couple of years. So the numbers are going to be higher as we go from now on, and they'll go up and they'll go down and they'll go up, and it'll just be a constant climb. You know what I mean? Just within a few points of each other every fucking quarter. And that's how the fucking drug company wants it. That's how the fucking Pfizer fucking is like, no, we need these fucking profits, bitch. I don't care how many motherfuckers got to die, because this is all fucking money. This is all us right here. We're going to fucking rule the world. And they are. They're just, that's what they're doing. The military industrial complex does what it wants. The energy companies do what they want. The pharmacological fucking companies do what they want, and everybody gets their fucking booster shots on the regular forever. Amen.
All right, well, be careful where we're going with that, because you know that right there, that territory that you're walking in right there, Steve.
I don't think I said anything that was too flagrantly.
No, there's so many therapies.
I'm just saying,
and there's you know, there are countries all over the world that have been using all kinds of nutrition-based and other-based therapies to treat a lot of diseases for years, for decades, that the United States will not allow to be used because it does not profit the big pharma. So they've been using different modalities in Europe and in China and all over. Like for example, there's certain cancer treatments that they've been using that will not be used here, that don't have as many side effects, that have been documented in all these journals, but it's not allowed here. And there's also natural and plant-based modalities that are used that are not allowed here because it's not profitable, that are efficacious and have no bad side effects for people. So that's another issue that, there's
Again,
so many.
thank you, Mr. Rockefeller.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
So it's not only free healthcare, it's freedom to incorporate as much every kind of thing that's available to heal us as without side effects and as efficaciously, and have and be able to do that as well, not just free drugs, but just free therapies, what form they come in.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna head out.
All right. We love you.
Love you too.
Thanks, Frank.
Bye, Poison.
Bye, everybody in the chat. Over and out.
All right.
Peace.
Poison.
Poison.
Check out Alice Poison at Alice Poison on the Twitters.
I have this weird philosophy. All the all the aborted fetuses are going to be reanimated, rise up, and they're going to be the revolution.
Whoa, that's heavy,
They're going to lead us. They're going to lead us.
That's far out, dude.
So I've heard some people
Will they
say,
like stay fetus size? They'll just be like little tiny dudes running around.
Tiny zombie little swords and bats and shields. Bump, 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 fighting for the rights of humanity. And I'm not even on acid, and I thought that up.
That is fabulous.
they're going to come back and haunt us.
Oh, God.
I mean, do you think that there's a certain cutoff or certain criteria that should be in order? I mean, I think like it should be something that a doctor and medically they talk about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's something that like the general public gets to decide that this is what's right for this woman or this woman. Because I know women that who have taken and how come there's not a conversation about how the fact that a woman can get pregnant and have a baby 9 months later, a man can literally go out there and populate as much as he wants. Why is it all on the women?
See, because of our biology has done some numbers to us, huh? Because of that, and the oppressors using biology, they've been able to use that as a tool of oppression.
Yep.
You would think they would be more like pro-gay people, people that are like, like anti-abortion, that are pro-birth, because I don't think it's anti, I think that's what it is. It's birth that they want. Like you would think they would be like more like pro-gay. Gay people don't produce babies and have to have abortions.
But they have to have straight mommies. I mean, they have to have a mommy and a daddy. Technically,
and then now there's stuff happening even in prisons, right? Where because of how people are identifying, I mean, this gets into weeds of a different, a different sort, but they are.
That's a whole different salad you're talking about, baby.
They're having male and female co-ed in the same prisons, and they're having sex and they're getting them pregnant. So, like
co-ed prison cells?
Well, because they have the males there that are transgender that can still produce what they need to produce. And they're in the population with the women
That's a funky chicken.
And they're you know, there's pregnancies that are happening in jail.
Oh, God.
That's a whole nother thing. I haven't done any research into that. Like, you know, to be able to really say anything substantially, you know, with any kind of confidence in that realm. But it's like I saw an article on it. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? I didn't like.
Well, they're being gender sensitive while they're abusing and killing people in jail.
Right.
Isn't that lovely? I mean,
so instead of the issue being the unlivable conditions in prison, it's about the fact that they're mixing the genders.
We're going to use the right pronouns while we beat the shit out of you.
That's right. Nothing like a feel good prison story. Am I right?
Should I call you it, she? Boom, boom, motherfucker.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I know. It's ridiculous. It's like we just can't get right. We can't get it right.
Come on. You all seen the Green Mile, ain't you?
Oh, God.
What the fuck?
I don't know what the solution is besides just, you know, continuing
what you're doing here.
Not shut up.
Is the only thing, you're doing the only thing we can do. This is the bottom line right here. What we're doing here, talking to each other, and then doing what we can do in our little world.
Yep.
That's it, right?
That's about how much you can control of it. Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of fucking legwork, and there's a lot of things that a lot of people do and organize, and you know, all of these things are valid. You know what I mean? If you're fucking active in trying to change something and you're actually doing something and affecting that change, then fucking God bless you, man. Knock yourself out. You know, I got nothing but fucking praise for a person with that energy. And if you can keep speaking truth about the things that you see, even though everything is turning to shit all around you as you fucking try to describe the fucking dystopian fucking landscape before you, you know, you should at least try to. I mean, makes good movies.
I've come a long way from 72 when I was 13 and I won an award for an anti-war essay that was read over the radio.
That's amazing.
I was 1958.
When does your book come out, Alex? Come on.
I know. I want to know.
Well, I cheated because my parents were like they were very grew up in the Greenwich Village in New York, and my parents were anti-war activists, and had the Black Panthers in our loft, and my mother was an artist and all that.
Yeah.
I mean,
hipsters.
We were broke, but
broke ass hipsters from New York City. Yeah.
Yeah, I cheated. I grew up. I didn't have to rebel against anything. I mean, my family were fucked up, but I didn't have to worry about, a lot of the stuff that a lot of young people had to worry about. So I didn't have to struggle in that respect. So I had it easy. No religion, no conservative shit, no American shit, So I really didn't have to struggle in that respect. So that's good.
Yeah.
Basically, I just, this is the best place to be. I love the other channels, and I've noticed that I don't feel as comfortable there as I do here. And because there is some sort of hierarchical thing happening, and people.
There's a lot of exclusionary bullshit, like
all right,
bullshit happening. There is bullshit fucking happening. There is clicks. There is it's a whole fucking thing. And unless you're paying attention to it,
it just
you won't see it. Like it, but
which is how we deal with it too. Ironically enough, is just not paying attention to it.
Yeah,
just laughing about it.
I infiltrate. That's my job.
We love that. That's amazing.
I think it's great that you're out.
Lucky Burrito and in caps, and I go, check this out. You'll find common ground. I'll say something little in there and throw that in. boom, boom.
We try to be inclusive with people, like, you know, and I'm okay with us being a smaller, you know, a smaller, tighter knit group of people, because people come in little by little and we get to know everybody. Yeah. As a new person joins in on one of the streams, we get to know them over time. And, you know, you're part of a family. You're part of something that's inclusive, that we're not going to exclude you if you don't agree with us. It's, you know what I mean? Like, we can talk about it. We'll invite you on to talk about it, you know, and we'll do it in a respectful way.
I think it's funny that the idea of you infiltrating, like spreading the name and being like, oh yeah, check this out. Like you're poaching people out of their fucking chat to come to our chat, but everybody already knows. You know what I mean? Like, that people fucking in those circles already know and are like trying actively to fucking exclude us from being known. It's ironic, and fucking, we love you. So thank you. That's fantastic.
I have to. That's how I operate. You know, it's like, and I love it. Like, there's certain things you know, using the bad for my purposes to say, fuck you. And, you know, I like doing those things.
Yeah. Subversion is your fucking, your niche. I like it. You
know, if I was a young person in the 60s, you know, the SDS, Students for Democratic Society, you know, I would have been part of the I would have been connected to the Black Panthers. I would have been connected to those, you know, those groups doing shit like blowing up federal buildings.
Right.
And, you know, I think I would have been that type of person, like getting out there and doing that.
Right.
You know,
hands on. Hands on, balls out, you know, that's the way to be, man.
Well,
real, just
I think that people are more likely to join something than to start something too. You know, like, people are more likely to join a movement. Like, I've been saying, like, let's get behind Rome with Tour for the Poor. Imagine if we didn't donate to politicians, but we donated mutual aid to people that we, you know what I mean? Mutual aid. And that doesn't have to be financial. Mutual aid can be something very simple. It can be checking in on a neighbor. It can be making sure that somebody's okay. If you do grow stuff in your garden, you give them something, or somebody needs help, or, you know, like, advice on something, you know, like, my neighbor was telling me that they're going to be driving down to gag. But Disney World, you know, I'm like, oh, I just have to be quiet, because, you know, I can't, you know, but, you know, I'm like, make sure you have something like, you know, really long jumper cables, make sure, because she's like nervous about making a trip. And I'm like, well, something like AAA is always good to have. It's like $150 for a year. And you know that if something happens, you have somebody to call that will bring you gas or come do your tire or give you a job. You know what I mean? Like, especially being, you know, a single female out there, you know, and you're going from, you know, the Connecticut all the way down to Florida and driving, you know, like, it's good to have something like that. Like, my mom gets me that every year for my birthday. She gets me my AAA membership. Like, that's just what she does, you know, and with us driving an older vehicle, like, I haven't had to use my AAA because we haven't been, like, really going anywhere or driving anywhere, you know, but I feel safer knowing that if I had to get a tow, it, you know, like that membership is going to cover itself, and you get a bunch of discounts and stuff like that if you do travel. So, I mean, like, but that little bit of, like, she hadn't thought of that. Like, no one had said that to her, you know, and I hear it. I'm like, all right, well, I'll bite my tongue on the Disney part. But if you're going to travel and you need, like, you know, like, this is a little bit of extra added, you know, something that will make you feel safer and more secure in what you're doing, you know, and I'll make sure that, you know, if there's anything else I can help her with, I'll be on the lookout. My mutual aid will be, like, on the lookout for, like, when she isn't here, to make sure, you know what I mean? Just keeping an eye out that, you know, like nothing weird is happening, you know, like in her apartment or anything like that, you know. But mutual aid doesn't have to be specifically like giving somebody financial support. It can be like you were like Lady Alex sent me cool freaking pants and, you know, an ornament that was her mom's. It's so cool. I have it right here. I should show.
And if you have anything to donate, don't donate to Goodwill. Donate to like a battered women's shelter. They give it directly to the women because they often leave everything behind when they leave their homes. Oh, yeah.
There it is.
My dead mother made that. Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Like
so
redheaded little creatures because I have red hair. So, yeah. So I figured you would probably have a tree or something. I don't do that kind of stuff.
I don't do a Christmas tree,
but
like we're just gonna kind of like have it out. Like it's like kind of it's on my altar over here.
It's a beautiful
it's a
artifact.
little angel, a little redheaded angel. Yeah, don't only donate to battered women's shelters because women often leave everything behind when they leave. And so if you go directly, you can contact the battered women's shelters and you can donate clothes and baby stuff. Don't donate to the Goodwill.
I know. I have such a hard time with Goodwill. I like to, and we have like a local, like little, like kind of shop that does that kind of thing where they help like the community with like the proceeds of what they get. So that's where I always try to like donate to there. I have to make a big trip there because I have stuff I have to bring down there.
We got a lot of stuff.
We got stuff to bring.
We have a lot. People accumulate a lot of stuff. So take your stuff and give it directly to people. I love doing that, especially when I hoodwinked those assholes and then gave all their shit to the battered women's shelter.
That's the best.
Gene, yes.
Giving other people shit away
is a good thing, and it's a wonderful part of life. Absolutely. You should check out the last time that Lady Alex came on and we did a podcast. We had Unholy Rome and Only D on, and we did one on sex workers. And you can find out what Rome thinks about the glory hole. Remember the glory hole?
Yeah.
That's a genre.
That's right.
Hey, you know what my philosophy is now? There's, whatever good you can fun and pleasure you can extract from your life, do it. You know what I mean? Like, really, any little thing that you could do, just, do it and don't hold back.
And here's Leo.
And sniff and cuddle a little aminal. And is that a little special amber necklace for healing?
Oh, it's a quartz, and then he has a little charm that says Leo on it.
And what's around? What are the beads? Are they amber?
Oh, it's like an exotic wood, and I can't. Oh my gosh, I cannot for the life of me remember what the beads were on your necklace. What were they?
He's so cute.
Leo is a ham. He connects me with people. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, he's a well-adjusted dog, and that shows as a well-adjusted family. You know how your kids are and your animals reflect the feeling in your environment, right?
Yeah,
it's true. Even though there's a crazy, white screaming chicken sometimes, he just gets excited. I don't want to say his name. Bonus points if you know which one I'm talking about.
Is it a fruit?
Fruity sometimes.
It is a fruit.
Is Peaches non-binary?
Yeah, he identifies as a robot bird.
They said that he was like a female bird when I got him, and that's why his name was Peaches. And then I was like,
well, he used to work at the club. Don't judge him. Come on. Down there with Vinny the Vane and Tommy the
he's a rescue.
He's a rescue.
But he is the same age as Skyla. It's crazy. He's the same age. He's 18. They're both 18.
18.
What kind
they live like 60 to 80 years.
What type of bird is Peaches?
Sulfur crested cockatoo.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah, they live a long
Skyla knows that, here's a picture of him.
Wow. He looks like a spry teen.
Yeah, he's like a 4.5-year-old with that needs distemperment shots sometimes.
Wow.
But that's kind of the attitude they have.
They're
kind of like toddlers, like really pissed off toddlers that are cranky. They need a nap or whatever.
Does Peaches curse and say things like "fuck you, fuck you, fuck you"?
No, I wish. I keep saying stuff to him, but
how about this?
eventually,
fuck the establishment. Fuck the establishment.
trying to get him to say.
And here's a little. This is Leo when Leo was in my hand. Like that's him. Like that's little Leo. When he was a baby. He was first born. Like that's within an hour of being born. That's little Leo right there.
That's such a tiny.
He was so tiny.
Like the bird.
And
is that a fetus?
No, he was born.
The bird.
And this is Zabby. This is Commander X's dog.
Zabby
and
dog.
Commander X is free, guys. He got out. And it's very, very exciting. And
That's
he wants to
awesome.
meet us and Leo. He wants Leo and Zabby, his dog, to meet.
Because
So-
they really should hang out. They look a lot alike.
Yeah, he's like,
And
I never
Gomez.
knew what my dog was. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a pretty snazzy profile picture Zabby has there.
Yeah. Yeah, Zabby is looking really good. We got some comments here. I am like so far behind on the comments. I apologize, everybody. Yes, and yeah, you should definitely, Drew. That you're right. You should check out Steve Cutler live.
Yeah.
He has his YouTube and he does the music. Like we switch spots, and you'll actually see Steve in front of the camera, and you'll hear me between songs. You know,
She'll be over here.
yeah. We switch spots.
We don't really have them panned apart, though. I should pan them left and right a little bit more. So, like,
What?
you hear it in your ears. I'll be on one side and you'll be on the other side.
Oh,
On the mixer, I mean.
Well, then if they only have one earbud in, they're not going to hear both of us. So, let's see. Let's see what's going on in our
Thanks, Gray Walker. Gray Walker's like, Steve's pretty good. He doesn't have a cool 70s fringe leather vest or anything. He's not that cool. He's not like John Denver.
Steve
fucking
doesn't have a leather vest,
level
but he
cool.
does play the guitar. He does amazing.
Well,
music.
it has something to do with the beard. Like it's like this like imaginary biker persona. If you have a beard and a vest, then you must obviously own a fucking
Steve,
fat
you
boy.
need to put your link
And
for your
stuff.
show for your thing in the thing.
All right.
Is it? I think it's on my channel too.
I'll figure out how to do
If
that.
you're on my YouTube, then he's featured.
I'm the next guy on there. Just go to the next guy down. That's me. Wait a minute. I'm almost figured it out. Your channel.
Maybe they did. Maybe they did.
Sure. Copy.
Well, guess what? I'm going on an airplane for the first time in years. I'm flying to Chicago.
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
On July 4th, my Steve's from a little town in Indiana near Chicago, and we're visiting his family are all getting together for the first time. He has 5 brothers and sisters, and they haven't been together all at once in years and years. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to be there from July 4th till the 8th and come back to Albuquerque. He's going to stay there for a few days. But it's going to be interesting to see the whole plane thing. I don't know if they're going to make me wear a mask or what. I'm going to bring one anyway. But they're going to do a July 4th. You know how the Southwest always does funny little things?
Sure.
They say funny shit. So I'm thinking, oh, God, I'm going to be sitting on the plane and they're going to do a patriotic bullshit. And I'm going to have to go,
Please rise.
Oh my
for the
gosh.
national anthem.
You would be so excited because when we were at Skyla's graduation, her she went to they call it middle college. It's high school, but at the college thing. So we're there for that, and everybody they're like, "Oh, everybody, please stay standing for our national anthem." What do you think Steve and I did?
I pledge allegiance.
We fucking sat the fuck down. Fuck that. We were the only ones that I saw in that entire auditorium that were sitting down instead of standing like good little soldiers, like everybody else did. I was like, no. And I'm like, Leo, we are sitting down. We are going to sit down. And we sat down. And that was my own, like, just people go with the flow. They go with the crowd automatically.
So obstinate. We're so obstinate. We're like, no.
That was my own protest. Like, no, I'm not part of that. That is not.
I'm like that football player. Shut up. I'm not standing.
I don't go to 4th of July fireworks celebrations. I don't go and say happy 4th of July. I don't celebrate American imperialism.
I don't celebrate any holiday.
I don't. Yeah, we don't celebrate holidays like that. Like
you can stand up and say, as they're saying the pledge, stand up in a loud voice and say, I pledge allegiance to the corporations of the United Military and Murderous Complex of America. You know, you can kind of.
Absolutely.
I know, right?
That allows a little creativity. Sure.
Yeah. Go to the fireworks and with your megaphone and do that.
Yeah.
You have to be careful. People get violent against people like that.
Especially with fireworks. They'll shoot you.
Yes, they will.
They fucking will.
They will.
You know, you have to be ready for that sort of thing. You know.
That's why we just choose to not participate in that.
Yeah, it's better. It's better for me to just not be in that environment where all these fucking rowdy Americans are all fucking raging because America, because this day, because it's the 4th of July, motherfucker. That's why.
Celebrate this shit while they're suffering, and we're killing
such
people.
Horse shit.
We eat, we're dying, and all this shit's going on, and we're doing this. We're still doing this shit.
Yeah,
it's like unbelievable.
It's the original virtue signal. You know, it just never goes away. It's always every year. And I have friends to this day that are like, oh, this is my favorite time of year. I love fucking blowing shit up and like, okay, it's fun. You know, I remember blowing shit up on acid and being real high and playing music and okay, you know, but it's no different than any other day, dude. You just assigned all this value to it from some fucking programming about nationalism that, you know, because you said the Pledge of Allegiance. Because rockets red glare.
I should make a shirt that says it should say Betsy Ross, go fuck yourself.
yeah, man.
You can have
because the rockets
not
red
everybody
glare.
Would, not everybody would fucking get that either, because that's how indoctrinated people are. Is that they don't know
Betsy Ross? Maybe she wasn't even real. Maybe she's a myth too, like everything else.
Yeah, acid and fireworks go hand in hand really nicely, actually, if done correctly. I highly recommended. You know, you have to have experienced people on both for it to be working out good for everybody, but definitely a lot of fun sometimes. A lot of times for years, but not anymore so much because the whole like significance of it is fucking lost on me now because I'm a jaded old fuck and you know, sorry.
I'm lucky. My family, we never celebrated the 4th. You know, my parents were like, you know, radicals, you know. So I never celebrated the 4th of July.
That's
I never, you know, none of that shit.
That's
that's great.
I was scared.
I wonder what it would have been like to come up with that much insight into the fucking pathetic nonsense that is that American sense of excellence and pride and all that fucking garbage. Like, what is it? What would it have been like for myself to like not be so fucking hit over the head with that from a young age until, you know what I mean? Much later in life, I didn't figure anything out. I'm just barely figuring shit out right now. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck?
Like religion, you know, I mean, even though you might have an epiphany and say religion sucks and then become an atheist, all that abuse you suffered is inside you. You can never get rid of it. It's somewhere hiding in the corners of your mind. All that
trauma
bullshit.
is a motherfucker.
You know?
Yeah. And traumatic
uh,
dogma is a whole nother level of trauma. It's just a fucking madness.
So
There's so many things like that we're
admire you for
forced
that.
to take and accept.
Yeah, and and Popeye, who always works the holidays? You know what I mean? It's never.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it never ends. You know how many like holidays I worked, like when I worked retail and stuff like that. Like you're just you're
Cooks work holidays.
You're
always.
low end of the totem pole. You're at the low end of the totem pole, like with certain job, like. And it's not like they pay you because you are the one that is working, so everyone else doesn't have to work. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They loved me at work. As a nurse, everybody would like put their number 1 and number 2. What holiday you want off, and they were all like vying for Christmas and then New Year's Day and this and that. And I'm like, I'm not part of this, and I always worked the holidays and made double time, triple time.
Fuck yeah.
Never thought about Christmas off because I didn't give a fuck. I worked all of the holidays and made the money.
Oh, Kate's on a show tomorrow. Tomorrow is Canada Day.
That's right.
I am a guest on Music Without Borders show tomorrow, and I played songs of Revolution on the show to be aired at 7 to 8 a.m. Pacific.
How do you
that's awesome. Is there like a replay? Are you going to record it or something? I would love to hear it, but I don't know how to listen to it. Like, I don't know how to make that happen. Is that a thing I can do?
Just do the thing. Click the link in the description.
Yeah, so like think about like the 4th of July coming up. Everyone's going to be,
somewhere.
Fireworks everywhere. Like what is that? How does that affect the environment? Babies don't like it. A lot of kids are scared of it.
Don't like it.
Dogs don't like it. It's like, why do we continue this?
And in the Southwest, we have a drought. And they do the fireworks out here,
Oh my gosh.
It's a shame with the fires.
Nutty.
So they,
Leo, what are we going to do?
Yeah, I don't think Leo should have fireworks this year. I'm just saying.
Oh, they'll be doing them out in our, and like the
he'll be
parking lot of our apartment. Everyone will be out there doing it. Like, and they think it's fun and they do it with their kids, and it's like
quality time.
Maybe I'll go out and spin my my LED poise. I do the how people spin fire and stuff like that. They have the things on fire. They do that. I have those, but mine are LED lights. I have ones that I light on fire too, but I have not lit them on fire yet.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe we'll.
The light ones are groovy. Yeah. Also fun on acid. Allegedly.
God.
Yeah, it's funny to see, and then it's funny because people will be like, "Oh, yeah, let me try those. I could do that." Oh, and I'm like, "Oh, well, be careful. I spin these really fast, and when they hit you, they will leave a mark, right?" And then people try it. It's really funny. It's really funny to see. I have a thing on here on YouTube. I have a stream of me just doing it without any music to it because Steve didn't put any music to it.
It's my fault.
No,
I don't play that music. I already did the video part. What are you talking about?
Aggressive much?
You were supposed to put music to it.
Drew says he has
just
stacked
stating fact.
cakes and mortars. Okay, he's ready to blow shit up.
True.
I understand the need and the level of fun and excitement that one can have. I've seen entire docks floating on ponds that were just about on fire. There were so many things blowing up, and it was just a lot of fun because the band would like do a double stop, and then there'd be like a rocket. It just like 5 times in a row or something. It would like worked out that
every time we did a double stop, rockets shot into the sky and exploded. And that's really cool. Like pyrotechnics, I guess that's as close as I'll ever understand like how that works in a stage environment. But we weren't like right next to them, thank God, because fireworks are on fire, you guys. So be careful out there, all you firework aficionados. Okay, bring in some water or something. I don't know what to tell you. Stop blowing shit up so much, or do it in a place that's safe. Safely blow shit up, right? Be responsible with your explosives. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm trying to say? I don't know. It's getting late. I'm just I'm spitballing here.
Oh, Commander X. Somebody wants to know who Commander is.
Yes. Commander X he was, food not bombs.
He was helping him.
Yeah, he was helping for food not bombs.
Let's see.
Look, there we go. Now we got Leo.
What did you do?
I put Leo up.
Okay.
Oh, here. This is what we should remind everybody to go over and check out your thing here. Let me see. I got the thing. the thing. Help support live music. Steve Cutler live. And just for a cuteness factor, just for.
Used to think the world was flat. Really threw my hat into the crowd. I felt I had used up my quota of yearning. Used to looking on the children at night.
Go ahead and tell him.
Oh, I didn't know if it was over. I can still see the thing.
No, go ahead, Steve. You can tell him. He's going to explain Commander X.
Okay, so his name is Christopher Doyen. He was a guy, he was living in Mexico, and the feds came and picked him up in fucking Mexico and took him from his home. And
like in the middle of the night type mob shit.
he pled guilty to shutting down Santa Cruz County's website. And that was like his crime, basically. And it had to do with people getting Wi-Fi. And it was, it's fucking really cool that he got out. He got on a probation. And I'm not sure of all the stipulations and stuff, but it was really good to see him standing out on the sidewalk with Glory Jones. And
I think they covered more detail of it on the Action for Assange when they had Glory Jones on.
Yes.
So that would be a show to definitely check out if you're not, if you haven't seen that yet. It would be an awesome show to check out. It's one that I have to check out, like myself. All right. So is there anything else going on that you want to talk about, or are you ready to wrap it up?
I'm good with whatever you ladies are thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna lickety split. I'm just happy I had the day off today, and
yeah,
hell yeah.
But hey, I can't complain. I told you I work with bed hair and in my nightgown and barefoot.
I know. It's so awesome that you get to work like that.
That's wonderful.
I work from home. I put my little ear headset with microphone and go, "Hello, how may I help you?" Well, I'm bleeding out of my rectum, and like people call in with all these physical ailments, and I have to triage and figure out what to do for them and stuff. And
that's amazing.
I wanted to let everybody know that James Manna, Stevie Redneckonomics' partner, they are doing a stream, and Shelly went over there. So I would like to invite everybody who's here to go over there and go check them out. I'm going to put the link in here because they're live.
Hell yeah.
Oh, good.
Tell them we're going to infiltrate. Say, Lucky sent me.
Do the thing.
Everybody should do that and check it out. Elle put the link in for her Podbean podcast that she did, the super super oh my god,
Super awkward fun cast.
Oh my god, it always tongue twisters me.
God.
And Elle and I will be doing our show on Sunday together, and I'm sure and we usually do ours around 9:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
And Steve, I'm sure we'll be doing a show between now and then. And Peaches is just so excited that we're all going to go over and infiltrate Jim's stream with Shelly.
Everybody, let's come together and be nice to each other. We love you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Lady
people,
Alex.
You guys are fantastic, and thank you. It's an honor and wonderful to be here, and thank you for allowing me to speak about stuff.
Absolutely. Everybody is welcome. If you guys want to do a show with us, let us know. You can get us at stevecutlerlive@gmail.com. On Twitter, my Twitter is on the screen at Lucky Burritos. You can find me there. Steve Cutler Live is on Twitter. We're on all the different social medias. There's links in the description.
There's a link tree. Click.
There's a link tree. Yes.
In the description.
We're on Rumble and Odysee, so please check us out over there and give us a follow.
Thank you, Peaches. That's
any
enough.
of the other channels. I hope to see everybody over at the other stream. We love you.
All right. Peace.
Fight the power. Infiltrate.
Infiltrate. Okay, where is
everybody this? Evil laugh, all right? Thank you.
Hydrophil cuts through my neighborhood. Somehow that always just made me feel good. And I can put a spare bulb in my hand, light up my yard. Late at night when the wires and the walls sing in tune with the din of the falls. I'm conducting it all while I sleep to light this whole town.